Right. I never even got to ask you, like, do you watch or have you watched these kinds of videos? I feel like these are more like videos that I feel like a lot of kids when they were younger watched. Or I at least watched when I was younger, but have you, Beabu? Did you used
I've
to
only yeah, I just watched them if I was, like, watching them with, like, a YouTuber or something, so I wouldn't feel alone.
Oh, yeah, I get that. Just like watching Cub Scouts react to it or something, or
Yeah,
Spooky Scary Sunday. Yeah.
yeah.
I that's how I originally like started watching these. I used to watch like people reacting to them when I was younger, and then it just slowly built into like watching them in general.
Mhm.
And I usually just like put it on and like again, these videos from like Mr. Nightmare, they don't have a lot of visual anything. It's just more of the story, so I usually just have that in the background while I'm like doing other stuff. Um
Yeah.
But the thing that I like about these videos is shit, I my watch is beeping. The thing I like about these videos is you get multiple stories and you get to it goes like kind of quickly. It doesn't for me, they kind of like these videos feel like they go by quickly and you get obviously multiple stories in like one video most of the time. So it feels
Mhm.
a little bit more entertaining to me um to kind of go through it quicker than like a full story that takes like 30 minutes long. um, and some of them, I feel like it's hard to, I guess, immerse yourself into scary videos like these usually, but some of them are, I would say, kind of creepy. Can get creepy. The atmosphere of it is more creepy, I guess, than like sometimes the story itself. And then other stories are just kind of stupid. So I mean, if you don't watch these often, it'll be more of a surprise to you. But the first video is just four scary, true what does that say? Stranded horror stories. So usually these videos have like a theme, and we do have
Mhm.
multiple videos like that we can pick from. We'll just watch this one first, and then I'll like let you choose the next ones that we can look at, I guess, because I have just a playlist of them. Um, and
Alright.
yeah, four stories. This video
They're
is
all
30
true.
minutes long. Yeah, they're apparently true. Up to
Alright.
debate though. Let's go. Stranded horror stories.
My
Wow.
god.
Wow. Anonymous. That's how you know. That's how you know. This is gonna be
I hear
juicy.
weird stories all the time, but I never thought I would have my own to share someday. This happened to me about a year ago, and I was basically stranded in the middle of nowhere. I'm in a band, and anybody who's in a band knows the struggle can be real. There have been times when we've played in rooms that literally don't have another person in the building. You take show opportunities whenever you can get them. On this specific night, I drove about 2 hours from where I live to play a show in a small town. The other guys in the band offered to drive me, but I told them I would drive myself since I would be driving right from my other job.
Ooh.
Because of my band
There's a cat.
obligations, normal jobs
Is
have
there?
always taken a back
Yeah,
seat,
on the floor.
and as a
Oh
result,
yeah.
I'm broke.
Dude, this guy
I
also
try to
uses
brighten
like
days
AI
all the time
images,
so
I'm
I can
pretty
bring gas
sure.
money
Oh
while
my
driving
god,
these
bro.
shows. When I was driving to that
Hopefully we don't
show,
see
I
those.
realized that my gas tank was not in a great position. By the time I arrived, I was closer to empty than I wanted to admit. After the show, my bandmates left before me. I grabbed a drink at a bar and hung out with the locals for a while before hitting the road. It was nearly 2 in the morning when I
Lots of these
finally
people in
left.
these stories are like
I pulled into the
drinkers for
24-hour
whatever
gas
reason.
station that was down the road from the bar, and I tried to get some
Everyone be
gas.
drinking.
Of
Yeah.
course, my car wasn't
Having a
working
fun
at the
time.
pump. I had $5 in cash on me, so I used that and hoped I could make it home. I
Oops.
wasn't very optimistic. I did try texting my brother to see if he could Venmo me some extra money for gas, and that I would pay him back. But since it was so late, he obviously didn't text me back. I started the long drive home, and I didn't make it very far, as you might expect. I ran out of gas, and I still had almost an hour left to drive. I was sitting on the
Oh
side of the
shit.
road, trying to figure out what to
What?
do. Service
Did he
on my
say it
phone
was
was
like
terrible, but
nighttime
I could
during this? I
probably get a
wasn't
signal
listening.
if I got out of the
Yeah,
car
it
and tried hard enough.
Okay.
Since
was,
it was
like,
so
very
late,
late.
I didn't
Yeah.
really want to call anybody and worry them, especially since I was so far away from home. I thought about just closing my eyes and resting for a few hours until dawn, and then I would call someone. But I didn't know if that was against the law to technically sleep on the side of the road. It felt
I
sketchy.
don't I
I
don't think
figured my
so.
best
I
option
don't
was
think
just
it
to wait
is.
out the clock
Guess it
until
depends on the
dawn.
road.
I could call my brother and
Like
we
on a
I
could
feel like
figure
highway.
people
something
check
out.
on you. but
I tried
Yeah.
pulling up YouTube on my phone.
I mean, it's
but
better
it
than
just wouldn't
driving
load
while you're
properly
super
because
sleepy.
of
I
the
think
bad
that's
cell
against the law.
service. I
Mhm.
felt so
Sounds like an
helpless just
accident.
sitting there. It was a real eye-opener for me. I really needed to get my life in order. I was sitting in my car for about half an hour when I caught something out of the corner of my eye. I looked out of the passenger side window, and standing about 30 or 40 feet away from my car was a person with a hood on.
Oh shit.
They weren't moving or doing anything that was necessarily threatening, but it didn't make it any less terrifying. I don't care who you are or what you're doing. If you see a random hooded person just appear in the middle of nowhere, you'd be a little freaked out also. I made sure I locked the doors, and I just kept my eyes on this strange figure that came out of nowhere. The only time I broke my stare was when I started looking at all my mirrors and the surrounding areas of my car to make sure I didn't see anyone else. There were no other people, no car, nothing. Just this person with the hood on. When I looked back at the figure, I noticed that they were moving very slowly toward my car. Like, unnaturally slow. I never felt so helpless in my life. I was literally in a car.
Okay. Before we
Dirty car.
continue. Oh yeah, dirty ass car by the way. Golly. What are you doing if you're in this situation? Like this guy said he ran out of gas. He's just like on some random road. Like obviously the images aren't always going to be accurate because this guy just has like a Google Doc story, I'm assuming, and he just like applies images to the story. Like
Mhm.
I don't know what this road looks like, how busy it is, if it's like trees around or like if you're in the middle of nowhere or if it's like street lamps or what. But let's just say it's
Yeah.
like kind of in like how it is in the image, like like a desolate road. You got no gas. You're just in your car and you see a dude walking towards your car and he's like in a hoodie, looks kind of sketchy. What are you doing, bro? Be for real.
I mean, like, I'm already in a car.
Yeah, but
Well,
what if he
like,
has
what
like a
else are you supposed to do?
what if he has like a gun or like anything, like any blunt object to like break the glass? You're kind of just like sitting there. You're just screwed, right? Would you like try to run for it
Yeah.
or do you think that's more dangerous? Probably more dangerous.
Wait, so he's coming towards the car, right?
He was, I think. He's like he said he was like slowly walking towards the car, but I don't know how like close he was.
I
That's
mean, like, mm, I feel like I'd still stay in the car,
yeah.
but because, like, it's like a shield, yeah, maybe they can break the glass, but, like, what if they actually don't have anything? I mean, they probably do have something. What am I talking about?
If they don't, I mean, who knows? Because like you got to also think, what was this guy doing on this road beforehand? Like, why was he just on this road in like the middle of night? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I don't know.
And I couldn't just drive away.
I feel like it'd be
It was like
dangerous,
being
more
stuck in
dangerous, I guess, to
quicksand.
probably run out. Guess it's
Eventually,
better to just
we
stay
Yeah.
were
and
within
just hope
just a
he
few
has no
feet of the
weapon.
car. I couldn't exactly tell what they looked like in detail, but I could confirm that it was a young woman under the hood,
Oh,
probably in her 20s.
Oh.
I tried shouting at the girl with my window still completely rolled up, asking what she needed or if she was okay. She didn't answer. Even though I was freaking out a little bit, at the end of the day, I still felt somewhat safe because I was inside my locked car. When she was standing a few feet away, she stopped inching closer. Then she just stood outside the car.
oh, that is kind
It
of
was the most
creepy.
unnerving moment of my life.
Just fucking
Every
staring
minute or
inside.
so, I would continue shouting at the woman, offering help. But just like before, no response at all.
I'd just shut
This
up.
may sound crazy, but I was trying to ignore her. Since I was stranded on the side of the road, I couldn't drive, my phone wasn't really working, and I wasn't about to get out of my car. I just decided to leave her alone.
Okay, I'm not gonna try to pause too much, but I do think I think a better strategy is to I wouldn't yell to them. I would just try to look scary, like look creepy in my car. Like I would try to make them think that I'm the one that like they should be scared of. Like I would just sit there like emotionless and just like kind of stare at them. And like whenever they
Yeah.
walk by or like if they're getting close, I would just like I don't know, I would just like look at them weird, like give them a creepy face. I feel like that's the best bet. If you run out, you never know like what they're gonna do to you or like your car. Like if you run in the middle of the woods, you might get lost, and then if you find your way back and your car is just like gone or it's just completely like destroyed or she's just waiting there, I don't know. I
Yeah.
Trying to
think it's
sing
best to just try
songs
to
and
scare
mentally
her
work on
away.
some chords while this
Use mental
strange
mind
woman just
games.
stood a couple feet away from me watching. Ignoring her proved to be harder than I thought. I couldn't take that horrible feeling anymore. It had to have been 10 times I tried to communicate with this woman. Finally, I decided I was going to try to record her. I pulled up the camera on my phone and tried pointing it out the window even though it was super dark. As soon as I started recording out the window, the woman moved in closer and started banging on the passenger door and trying to open it. I wish I had kept recording, but the panic I felt in the moment caused me to freak out and drop the phone. It almost sounded like she was growling or grunting. The sound was weird, almost unnatural. All of this happened so fast, but I still tried to get a better look at the woman when she was beating on the door. She really did just look like a normal girl with blonde hair. She didn't look evil or monstrous. I wasn't going to wait for this woman to break my window and try eating my face. I grabbed my phone from the floor of the car, my keys, and grabbed my guitar from the back seat. I took a deep breath, unlocked my door, and ran as fast as I could down the
Oh,
road.
so he ran when they were right
While I
at
was
the
running
door?
away,
Or the
I
other
looked
side, I
back,
guess.
and the woman didn't chase me.
Pretty
I
ballsy.
stopped running and looked at
I
her.
guess I kind of do that. I
She
think.
was
Well, she's not banging that
walking in
hard.
my
Maybe not.
direction, but not
I don't
running
know.
after
I
me
feel like I'd
or
be
even
more
breaking
scared if
into my
she's like
car.
that close.
She was just walking the
Yeah.
same direction as me.
Oh,
I
she's
shouted at her
following him.
one last time, asking what she wanted, but still no response at all. She just continued to walk in my direction. That was a big nope for me. I turned back around and just ran as fast as I could. I remember when I was driving to the show, I passed a good amount of nothing. Before all of the nothingness, there was a small town. I planned on running as far as I could in the direction of that town until dawn, and then I would call for help. I realized I could have called the police
I
at
guess
any
that's probably like
moment,
the
but
smartest
this didn't seem
decision.
like a police call in my mind at the time, as stupid as that sounds. Where I come from, you avoid calling the cops whenever you can. It's an ignorant and stubborn characteristic, I know that. At 6 in the morning,
And
I was fine.
that's like what I mean with a lot of these stories. The people in them are kind of stupid, or like they always say some stupid shit like that, like, "Oh, where I come from, you never call the
Where I
police, no
come
matter
from.
what." It's like, bro, I don't care if you literally grew up like in some neighborhood that like despises police or something. Why would this not be a situation like that? Like, this isn't some. I don't know. It feels like it doesn't really apply here. It's not. I don't know. That's just
Exactly.
so like
Really
stupid.
approaching the small
But
town.
at least he
At the
realizes
same
it.
time, I called my brother and told him what happened. He came to pick me up, and we took care of my vehicle. When we got back to my car, the back door was wide open. We looked inside the car, and nobody was inside and nothing was taken. I had some of my music equipment in the car, and she didn't take any of it. All she did was open the back door for some reason.
Piss
My brother
inside.
joked that she probably just wanted a place to sleep for the night, but my mind went somewhere much darker. I thought maybe she got into the back seat to hide, hoping that I would return to the vehicle that night. Obviously, I never saw this woman again. This is one of those stories that I'll unfortunately never have any type of concrete answer for. I've heard all the theories of what this woman wanted and what she was, and they all make sense. At the end of the day, I think it was just a strange, nomadic woman who happened to be wandering in this area I got stuck. I tried not to think of the possibility of what could have happened if she had somehow broken into the vehicle. I did learn something in all of this. I always make sure I have enough gas to get where I'm going now, because I never wanted to be stranded on the side of the road again.
Okay. That was the first story. What did you think, Beabu? What do you think? Think it was creepy?
It was creepy, but nothing really. I'm like trying to think of ways that he could have like just. I mean, he got out of it anyway, but like,
Handled it better, you
eh,
mean?
yeah. I feel like he handled it better anyway. I guess, but why? Just call the cops.
Yeah. I
That's the
mean,
only thing really.
even like what he said at the end, it's like you could have not even been in that situation to begin with if you just planned like your gas better or like didn't run out of gas in like the middle of nowhere, which I feel like is a pretty easily avoidable thing most of the
Yeah.
time, I'll say. Um but yeah, that was just the first story. They probably so I bet you somebody else in this one video will probably do something a lot stupider. I feel like that guy handled it pretty well. I feel like what do you think about like the situation in general? Do you think that was a like 1 out of 10 scary situation? Do you think this lady was just like some homeless girl or something? Maybe she was like drugged out. You know, what do you think?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like
she's wearing a hood, but we don't know what type of hood. What if it's like a cultist hood or like the
yeah,
just like
guess you can get creative with it. That's possible. Just like some
mm,
random cultist. Maybe she's trying to like recruit the guy. This one's by Michael. Story
This
2.
Michael.
experience is something that still affects me today, even though this happened years ago. My eventual wife Jackie and I went hiking. I would say we were slightly more than casual hikers. We liked to challenge ourselves just a little bit. Nothing crazy like Mount Everest, but we did like to hit the mountains here in the US. Being alone in the woods at night is like heaven for me. I know the thought of that could be scary for some, but not us. Just the sounds of the forest and surrounding nature are beyond therapeutic. When life would get too stressful, we would disappear into the woods for a while, and it was like the stress would just wash away. The bliss we felt from being in the woods would eventually go away forever. The hike started like all our other hikes. We figured out the path we wanted to take, where we planned on camping, and where to avoid the dangerous obstacles. Jackie was good at that planning stuff. A few hours into the hike, Jackie stopped, put her hand up to alert me, and asked me if I heard what she just heard. At first, I didn't. I asked her if maybe she heard an animal, but she said it sounded different. Then I heard it. It was faint, but it sounded like a person screaming. We tried following the screams, and for a little bit, we were getting closer. The screams still give me nightmares. I'm still struggling to write this now. It wasn't just someone shouting. It was someone pleading for help, begging for it. While we were trying to find the source of the scream, Jackie was trying to get a signal to call the authorities. Being in the middle of the woods isn't exactly prime cell service. Each scream made my skin crawl. It wasn't like the screaming you hear in the movies. This felt so much more real and guttural. You could almost feel the pain in each scream and cry. I was yelling back, but the person screaming just kept yelling for help. We tried yelling for this person to give us any sign of where he could be, because we felt like we were walking in circles. But the person continued to just scream and cry. It was like they weren't even acknowledging us.
Do you think this is
I
a
was begging
setup?
to run out of the forest and go get help.
I feel like that's what I'm
Continue looking
thinking.
for this person. The screaming continued for a while, and I never became numb or used to it. Each and every scream made me want to scream. Just as suddenly as the scream started, they completely stopped. Now I started to scream like an insane person. I was trying to get this person to give me a sign that they were still alive, but there were no more screams other than my
Dude, if
voice
the
echoing.
screams stopped, I would
Kept
stop
exploring
screaming.
the area.
Because that means the other, whoever,
Finally
if
found
they're
the
getting
backpack that
attacked,
was
the
partially
attacker's
hanging
gonna
from a
come
tree
for you.
branch. I don't know for sure if it belonged to the person screaming, but I was definitely somewhat in the area of the source of the screams. I looked inside the bag, and all that was inside was a cell phone charger, a cheap pocket knife, and a generic thank you card that was just signed with "Love Mom" in cursive handwriting. I started to shout for any signs of life, but nothing answered. I looked around the area where I found the backpack, but I didn't find any signs of life, a struggle, or anything. It was like this bag just fell from the sky. I continued to shout, but nothing shouted back. Eventually, Jackie came back and some law enforcement was with her. We told them everything that happened, and they looked like they took everything seriously. We left our hike and went home that night because we were clearly rattled from everything that happened.
Then the
The
girl's
worst
gonna
part
be
of
outside
all
of the
this
cabin.
is that nothing came from
Oh my
it.
gosh.
The person screaming has never been identified. There
I
were
never
no
know.
new missing person reports in the area. They even tried matching the handwriting with that of mothers of other existing missing persons, and there was no match. This is a strange and unexplained mystery, and all these years later, it still bothers me. We don't even hike much anymore because every time we're in the woods, I can't help but be reminded of how horrible those screams were. They cut deeper than any wound I've ever personally had. I just hope one day this mystery is solved, and that whoever was screaming for help got the help that they were so desperately calling for.
Okay. Story 2. That one I thought was kind of creepy, but wasn't really much to it, I guess.
Back when I
Yeah.
graduated high school, my girlfriend at the time,
Like they
Tanya,
wouldn't
and I
traumatize
spent
me.
the summer taking a
I
bunch
feel
of
like
road
it was
trips.
something I'd think about, but
We
it
were
wouldn't
both going away
traumatize
for
me.
college in the
Definitely
fall,
not.
Yeah.
so we
I would just
decided
like
to make
probably
the most of that
replay it
summer
in
and
my
see as
mind
much
every
as
now
we
and
could.
again.
We
Mhm.
visited
Hold on,
the
let me
usual-
rewind. I was yapping.
Yeah.
Spent the
Okay.
summer taking a bunch of road trips. We were both going away for college in the fall, so we decided to make the most of that summer and see as much as we could. We visited the usual road trip tourist traps, but we tried to sprinkle in some of our own ideas as well. Halfway through the summer, we were bored with the normal sightseeing. It was cool and all, but we wanted this last trip to be epic. Tanya started to look up places that were allegedly haunted since we were both big horror fans. She looked at places that offered tours and places
I
that were technically
instantly
private
do not
property.
feel bad if they get
We
murdered
didn't
in this
see any
story.
ghosts, but it was cool to visit a lot of these places. If you believe in that kind of thing, I recommend checking out any number of allegedly haunted places. Maybe it's subconscious, but you feel a certain way being in these places. At least we did. We checked out so many places that I can't even remember how many we visited on that trip. Out of all the haunted or cursed places we visited, it was something that wasn't on the list that gave us more of a scare than any other place. I'm not saying we saw a ghost or something paranormal, but we did see something that seemed unexplainable at the very least. We were wrapping up our trip.
Okay,
We loved
before this continues, I personally never been a big fan of the ghost stories, like horror stories that are about ghosts or paranormal stuff. Um, I feel like for me, it's a little bit harder, obviously, to believe. Some people believe in ghosts. I don't know
Mhm.
if I do, but I feel like they seem a little bit more fake, these stories, or at least they do to me. But I don't know. We'll see how this goes, I guess. Do you have any feelings about ghost stories? Do you feel like they're usually like, at least what my brain jumps to when I hear something like this is I'm just immediately thinking about those like scary stories on Reddit, like one of those videos I would have watched when I was like 10 or something. It's just like the most like
Yeah.
bullshit like 3 a.m. ghost horror story. That's what I think of, at least. But what do you think? Do you think this can still be good? Do you believe in ghosts?
I don't necessarily believe in ghosts. I feel like the stuff with like haunted places and like ghosts and stuff is usually if you're going to like a haunted place, you're going to the place like expecting something at least scary to happen. So
Yeah,
it could like mess with your mind, which is probably why it seems like stuff is scary or
right.
whatever.
You mean like because
But
you're already going into it like thinking there's gonna be a ghost or like expecting something scary to happen?
yeah, that's what I feel like.
Yeah. No, I
So
agree. I feel like if you're like in some random area and you hear like a branch snap or like a whatever the hell happened, you're probably just gonna like brush it off. But if you're going to like freaking haunted forest, if you're going to a haunted forest or supposedly haunted, and then you hear like a branch snap behind you, you're immediately gonna think like, "Oh my god, there's a ghost behind me. There's a ghost behind me." So I feel
yeah.
like it's probably just gonna very depends on like the story. And in this situation, they're going to a haunted house on purpose to have some kind of scary experience. So
every
I
second
don't
of
know.
it,
We'll,
Mhm.
even
we'll
though we
see.
didn't see anything paranormal. While driving back home, we drove through this small New England town. I hate to make it sound cliche, but it looked like every other small New England town you see in pop culture. The town was beat up and looked poor. I would say it still had a strange beauty about it, even though half the town looked like it was falling apart. While driving through town, we passed an old abandoned church that looked like it had a school attached to the church. It looked just like a Catholic elementary school that Tanya and I went to in our hometown. I was initially joking with Tanya and told her we should try to get inside the school and see if it looks like our old school on the inside. She didn't take it as a joke. She told me to pull over because we were going inside. As a grown adult now, I would never even think about breaking into a building. But being 18 and feeling good in life, I didn't think or care about any of the consequences of my actions. It was dark outside, so we parked in the back of the school
Oh
because it was
shit! I
overgrown
would
with
never
trees.
go in a building that
We
looks like
tried
this.
several doors to get in, and they were all locked. I thought for sure Tanya was going to call it quits here, but
Especially
she
not at
wanted to keep
night.
going.
Yeah.
We approached a door on the side of the building that led to the gymnasium. The door was unlocked. We couldn't believe it. We walked right inside like we owned the place. Objectively, it was creepy inside. This place looked like it hadn't been touched in decades. You could literally see the dust particles from the moonlight shining in through the windows of the gym. It also smelled like every animal from this town went into the school to die. We wanted to take pictures, but both of us left our phones in the car, and neither one of us cared to go back.
What?
We were living in the moment. On the far side of the gym was a doorway that led into the rest of the school. It was an old brick hallway. It almost looked like a prison. It was super dark. There were small pockets of light from the windows, but that was it. It was barely enough to see in front of you. We walked around the school for a little while. It didn't take long to explore the entire school since it was so small. Other than the horrible smell, it was cool being inside the abandoned school. It was almost like the school was just abandoned one day and left as is. One of the classrooms even had some textbooks on the desk that were
What
open.
does that say?
I regret not taking one with
Petition
me.
with the Lord
One of
prayer.
the coolest things we noticed when walking
Yep.
around was that the school was shaped like a cross inside. The gym was at the bottom of the cross-shaped floor plan, and the hallway that led out from the gym went straight with two paths, one leading right and one leading left. After spending some time in the school and just enjoying the vibes of this place, I heard a weird smashing noise that came from the hallway. At the time,
Damn.
we were in one of the classrooms that was at the end of the left side hallway. I went out into the hall to look, but it was mostly pointless. I was staring into pure darkness for the most part, other than a few shadows from the faint light. Tanya asked if I knew what made that sound, and I told her it must have been a rodent. But before I could finish my sentence, I abruptly stopped speaking. I thought I saw something move at the end of the hall, but it was just so dark I couldn't be sure.
Did they not bring
Tanya asked
flashlights,
me what
man?
was happening, and when I was about to tell her that my eyes were playing tricks on me, I got the terrifying confirmation that I didn't want.
Dude, what is that
Something
drawing in the
clearly
wall?
moved. I saw a dark figure
Which
rise
one?
and block some of the light
The one on the
shining in
left.
from one of the open classroom doors at the other end of the hall. I went back into the class Tanya was in and shut the
I
door.
don't think I want to know.
I tried to be as quiet as I could, and I told her that I thought someone was inside the school. She tried telling me that we had explored the entire school, and clearly nobody was inside. It had to have been my imagination. I didn't dismiss her, because that could have been what happened. But whatever I saw rise from the shadows felt so real. We sat there for a second, trying to compose ourselves. I thought maybe it was time that all these haunted places we visited were starting to get to us. Just before leaving the classroom, we heard something again. Footsteps coming from outside the class, walking in our direction.
I would run
We
the
both held
fuck
our
out of
breath.
there so fast.
Just as it sounded like the footsteps were about to pass the room, they stopped. We looked at each other and knew it was time to make a run for the gym. I quietly made my way to the door before we started our sprint and looked to see if anyone was out there. Thankfully, nobody was out there. I remember trying to rationalize the sound of the footsteps as rodents, even though it clearly sounded like the footsteps of a person. We grabbed each other's hands and made a sprint down the hall, and right before making the turn to head toward the gym, we heard the sound of heavy footsteps chasing us.
Oh.
Not like the light footsteps we heard before. It sounded like a bull was chasing us. Neither one of us looked back. It felt like it was getting close to us as we ran into the gym. When we finally turned around, nothing was there. We could feel and hear something or someone big chasing us. and
I don't
then
know,
nothing was
man.
there. It didn't make any sense.
That shit just pulls
We
me
didn't
out of
wanna
the
find
story, I
what
feel.
happened either, so we made our way to the gym door we came in through.
A big homeless
We couldn't
guy.
get out.
That's
I
what it
thought
was.
maybe the door was shaking, so I started to
fat
push
guy.
and pull the door as hard as I could,
Yeah.
but it wasn't budging. We literally walked right inside this unlocked door not long ago, and now all of a sudden the door was locked. None of this was making sense. Since whatever was chasing us was not chasing us anymore for some reason, we tried to logically think of a solution. We were semi-stranded in this old school, but it's not like it was a fortress. Even if every door to the outside was locked, we could easily break a window and get out if we needed to. We tried the gym door a few more times, and when that didn't work out, we decided that we were going to run to the first classroom we could make it to and jump out of the window. We sprinted through the gym and into the hall. As we ran about 30 feet to the first classroom on the left, we heard whatever it was before chasing us again. I tried to look, but I didn't see anything. I just heard it. Whatever was chasing us stopped abruptly. I tried looking through the window on the classroom door, and I still didn't see anything except for a large shadow that was cast on the wall across the hall. The shadow was almost swaying back and forth, but not doing anything that was threatening. Tanya couldn't get the window open, so she smashed
I
it
won't
with
lie,
one
it
of the
is
desk
a little
chairs.
creepy,
The sound of the window glass shattering
but
caused the swaying shadow that I was
I don't know if I
looking at
believe it.
to fade back into the dark.
Yeah, me neither.
I didn't look to see where it went. I just wanted to get out. We were careful not to cut ourselves on the broken window glass, and we climbed out. We were almost on the other side of where we parked, so we quietly ran to our car. We didn't hear or see anything during this last final run. We passed the gym door on the way to the car, and I don't know why, but I decided to see if it would still open from the outside as it did for us earlier, and I couldn't believe it. It was locked. I couldn't explain it. I got into the car, and we drove off. We obviously didn't report anything, because if anybody broke any laws, it was us, and we didn't want to get into trouble so close to starting college. We stopped dating once college started, but we stayed friends. We're still
Thanks for
friends
adding
today,
that part to
whenever
the
we
story,
get
bro.
together, we often bring this trip up.
Why would they add
We
that?
still share the story whenever we have a chance to share it
Wow,
with
what a
someone new.
loser.
I'm sure there could be some rational
Yeah,
explanation for what happened,
the
but
situation
just
actually
being
made us
trapped in
break
that
up.
school and witnessing
It
what
was
we
just too
heard and saw
traumatic.
gives me a lot of pause. The easy explanation was that some person was living in the old school, but that doesn't quite add up to me. Some people might think the story's exaggerated, and you're honestly entitled to your opinion. But we know what we
Thank you,
witnessed.
because I do
I
not
know I'll
believe this
never
story.
forget my experience being trapped in that
I
old
think it was a
school.
homeless guy.
Yeah, I
And
feel
if it
like
wasn't, then I don't believe it.
I was gonna say every time I hear a story like this, I always try to like think about like what the rational explanation could be. Like if it's possible somebody was actually there. If it seems possible, if it seems like it might be an option, then I believe it a little bit more. But if it's like one of those stories that try like their damn hardest to make you think like, no, there's no way that this was a human, it had to have been a ghost. Like those just always seems kind of stupid. Um,
Yeah.
I feel like it was possible that it was just like a homeless guy who was like living in this place and like maybe he locked the door because he didn't want more people coming in.
Mhm.
Obviously they looked behind him, didn't see him like chasing him. Maybe it's just like super dark. Maybe he was just like at a different angle, but like how the audio was echoing or something just sounded like it was behind him. I don't know.
Mhm.
It was kind of creepy. That was a creepy story, but yeah, I just feel like it was kind of stupid at the same time because I don't really believe in ghosts.
I'm one of those people who hates the woods, going camping, and pretty much everything that outdoor
Also, wait,
activities entail.
how was that a stranded story? They weren't stranded, really. I mean,
Yeah, you're right.
they were in like a abandoned building. It's not really being stranded
Yeah,
unless you
they're
want
just
to.
trapped.
Yeah, I guess that's what they meant because like the door locked. But even then, like they literally said you can just open any window. It's not really like they were stranded at this place. I don't know. I thought whenever like usually when I hear stranded, I'm assuming it was like the first story, like your car breaks down and you're in the middle of nowhere. Not like you're in
Yeah,
a
like that's
fucking
stranded.
yeah, not we purposely went to this abandoned fucking creepy ass church in the middle of the night and then we left after we got chased. Like that's
So
not really the
naturally,
same
my
thing.
friends planned this
But
reunion trip
Mhm.
for us to go camping in the woods. Lucky me.
Is that the fourth
I
story?
did vote against it, but I
yeah,
was
this is the
outvoted.
last one.
I could have not
Nice.
gone, but I live on the other side of the country now, and I miss my old friends. So I put my hatred for the outdoors aside so I could spend a few nights with my old closest friends.
This guy's a
The first
fucking
day in the woods, we
chud
started
gamer
hiking in the morning.
like us.
One of my friends on the trip, Derek, has
Exactly.
always been the worst. I mean that in the most loving way possible. He's one of the guys who loves to push the envelope too far. I was an idiot to think this trip would be any different. We strayed off the path a little bit, even with all my protesting. According to Derek and a few of my other friends who were on the trip, a lot of people go off the trails a bit because apparently there are caves all over the massive sprawling woods. My friends wanted to find these caves because they claimed it would be super cool. I was less than
Mm.
pleased. When we were already far off the normal trail, is when Derek decided to inform me that a lot of the area in these woods turns into private property. I was furious. I wasn't trying to get shot by some crazy wilderness man. They all laughed at me and told me to relax. Just because it was private property doesn't mean we were ever going to get caught, at least according to them. The way he explained it to me is that there are giant patches of woods that are considered private property, but it's not like it's someone's backyard. The area of the woods that's considered private is a part of dozens of acres of land. It helped soothe my anxiety a little bit, but I still was furious with my lovely friends. We walked for a while in a
Lovely.
thick brush of trees and
So
bushes.
lovely.
It wasn't enjoyable. Derek claimed he knew exactly where he was going, but I doubted him. We approached this incredibly steep cliff. Not like a cliff you could fall off and die, but just a huge drop-off. Derek joked that we should be careful we don't fall. I didn't appreciate the humor, but because I could tell I was being a buzzkill, I kept my comments to myself. We were walking close to the side of the cliff because that's where Derek said a lot of the caves are hidden. I was in the back of the line, and when I took a step, my foot got caught on a root and I stumbled. It was the scariest experience of my life. I rolled down this steep bluff. I just kept rolling and shouting. I could hear my
Did he
friends
just fall
shouting
down
from
the
the top
hill
of
he
the
was
cliff.
talking about?
When I finally
I
stopped
think
rolling,
so.
I got to my feet and looked how far I'd fallen. I could barely see my friends through all the trees. And when I did see them, they looked like little figures standing on the top of the cliff. I tried climbing back up at first, but that was pointless. I just kept sliding back down. There was nothing to grab onto. I could barely hear Derek shouting, but it sounded like he said go back. and I couldn't be 100% sure, but it also looked like he was motioning his hands in the direction from where we came. I thought it would have been best to just stay put
This
and wait
guy's
for the
kind of an
water park
idiot.
ranger to rescue me. But the idiot that I am trusted Derek. I assumed that he must be pointing me to a ledge I could climb back up. I started heading in that direction, and when I looked back a few minutes later, I couldn't see my friends anymore. I started to panic. I just kept walking like an idiot, not realizing that I was probably getting myself more lost. What I found out later was that I was heading in the opposite direction from where we came. I felt
Bruh.
completely stranded. I started to shout for help, but nothing responded to my shouting. I was scared that an animal was stalking me. I didn't know what kind of animals lived in these woods, and I was easy prey.
Bro, I'm sorry,
Whenever I
this
would try to
guy.
look around to see if an animal was there, I wouldn't see anything except endless trees. A few hours passed, and my initial fear had gone away. I was certainly scared, but I was in that running on adrenaline mode. I felt relief for about 2 minutes because I stumbled across this rocky formation that looked like I could climb it back up to the level I started at, or at least closer to that level I started. I started scaling the rock wall. It was more like giant rock steps than a wall. It wasn't like I was rock climbing. More accurately, I was taking big leaps and grabbing these giant boulders. Just when I thought the nightmare couldn't get any worse, one of the rocks crumbled when I grabbed it, and I got stuck between two rocks.
Bro, this is like
What?
I was gonna say this guy is like kind of funny to me. Like he's kind of stupid, but this is like a genuine like fear of mine. Like imagine you are going into the woods and you get like separated from like the group that you're in, and now you can't like there's no easy way to like know where you're at unless you have like a map or like like Google Maps on your phone or something, if that even works. Um,
Yeah.
that shit is just kind of scary because you don't even know the location you're at. This is a stranded story. You're just stranded out in the middle of nowhere, and you only really have like a limited amount of time because once it's night, you're not even gonna be able to like see where you're at. And like people literally die from that, like getting lost in the woods, and it's not even like something's hunting them. It's literally just you can't survive unless you know how to like fucking pick berries and like hunt animals or some shit. Like become like an
Yeah.
outdoorsman. Otherwise, you're just gonna like starve or like die of thirst in like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
I was legitimately trapped. I kept thinking about that story 127 hours. If you know, you know. I was squirming
Do
all
you know what
around
that
trying to free
is? What is
myself, and it was
127
no
hours?
use. I finally started to scream.
Something
The
related to
sun
the
was
woods.
beginning to set, and I was
Something?
trapped.
You don't know?
Something.
Go
I
search it
actually have
up.
no idea.
I want to know. What is 127 hours? Is that like some book? Is that what he said? It was a book or like
100
a story?
to wait, 127 hours. Oh,
Yeah, I
it's a
think
film.
it's a film.
Oh, it's based off of I think that one person that got trapped in between a boulder.
Oh no. I remember
Yeah.
hearing about that story. That's fucking horrible, dude. That is
Yeah.
actually like one of the worst ways you could die, in my opinion. Like drowning, getting I feel like drowning, just being in like a cut off area where you can't like have oxygen, but also like something like this where you're like you know like those people who cave dive and it's like they're literally in like some place called like the Devil's Ass Crack. It's just like a narrow, like fucking tiny tunnel that they have to like crawl through, and it's like you can't even breathe without like getting stuck. Like
Yeah.
if you get stuck in a place like that and you literally can't do anything, you can't even move. You're just like slowly waiting for you to like die of starvation. Like that is just so horrible, bro.
Yeah.
Um, I think at least like the thing you said though, like didn't that guy survive? I'm pretty sure. Like didn't he have to like cut off his arm or something, but he ended up
Yeah.
like surviving?
Yeah, he had
Yeah.
to cut off his arm and they pretty
Yeah.
sure.
I don't think I don't definitely haven't watched the movie. I've just heard about that like cuz it's like based on a true story, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Between
it
two
is.
rocks far off the normal trail. I couldn't help but fear the worst. While I was trapped and screaming, I kept hearing the sound I heard earlier. The sound I thought was an animal. I was ready for whatever
Wait,
animal was
what
stalking.
what sound was did he hear earlier? Was I not paying attention?
I don't even know
I
either.
don't remember him bringing that up. A sound? I'm guessing it was just like some animal screech or something.
Me to come out and finally eat me. But it wasn't an animal. It was a skinny, middle-aged man with a
Oh,
mustache,
that's so much
glasses, and a
worse.
red flannel.
So much worse than an
He
animal,
came out
bro.
from the tree line. He was almost too skinny. He slowly approached me with
Well,
no sense of urgency at all. I was begging for him to help me. I was trying to explain to him that I got lost from my friends and I'm trapped. And he didn't say anything.
Oh, you're
He just
fucked.
continued to look
You're
at my
fucked. He's gonna
situation.
eat you alive.
Finally, he spoke up. He ignored everything I said and just asked me if I knew that I was on private property. I played stupid and told him I didn't know and that I got lost. I don't know how he did it, but he grabbed part of my leg, moved a small piece of the rock, and I was able to slide out. I started to thank the man, and he just ignored me and climbed back down. Before I could say anything else to him, he told me that I should follow him because my friends were waiting for me at his house.
Oh,
I tried getting him to
no.
clarify, but he just kept walking and told me that my friends were
this
waiting
guy's
for
better
me.
be human stew.
I was so mentally and physically battered and bruised that I didn't question him for some reason. I just kept following him
Yeah.
deeper into the woods. I was trying to figure out in my head how my friends found his house. It seemed like we were going in a completely different direction and even further into the woods. The sun was almost completely down. I kept trying to ask him questions, or if he could elaborate on any details, but he just stayed quiet except for mumbling a few times. It felt like we walked for a while, and we finally started approaching this big shed structure that was literally in the middle of the woods. It was bigger than a shed, but smaller than a house. He stopped at the door and told me to go inside because my friends were waiting for me. This all seemed wrong. My friends would never just
Yeah.
enter a strange man's shed house, especially Derek. I told the man to open the door and tell my friends to come outside, but he told me that I just had to go inside first because it wasn't safe to be outside. Obviously, by now, every alarm bell in my soul was going off. I didn't think for 1 second my friends were in the shed. I thanked the man for saving me and told him I would find my way back from here. So I turned and just ran deeper into the woods. I heard 2 sets of footsteps chasing me as I continued running in the almost pitch black woods. Eventually, I leaned against a tree and just sat there in the fetal position. I couldn't hear them chasing me anymore, but I didn't want to take the chance of them finding me. I would be blindly stumbling around in darkness, and they would clearly have an advantage. I sat there on high alert for several hours, staying as still as I could. I didn't hear a sound for the rest of the night. When the sun started to come up and I could see, I just started running. I consider myself to be the luckiest person on the planet, because after a few hours of running, I made it out of the woods and onto a road. It was one of the roads we had to drive on to get to the park. I flagged someone down who drove by, and they called the authorities for me. My friends were
Damn.
already with a park ranger trying to find me. When we got reunited, I told the ranger about the 2 guys and the giant shed in the woods, and he said he would look into it, and I honestly don't know if he did. I just wanted to get into my car and go home. They asked if I could tell them how to get back to the shed, and I couldn't. I couldn't even tell them if I ran in a straight line to get back to the road. I was so lost and disoriented. Finding my way back was beyond lucky. If I didn't like being in nature before, I was done forever after this expanding list of nightmares.
That was the first video. 4 scary, true, stranded horror stories. That last story was definitely the best one,
I
in
think
my
so too,
opinion.
yeah.
Yeah. The first one was creepy, but I feel like it didn't really feel like there was that much like danger or that much at like stake because you never like seen a weapon, you never really knew like what was happening. But like
Mhm.
if that was like a real story, there's not really like much up to like interpretation. Like if they're telling you your friends are in this cabin and they're not, then there's like they weren't obviously trying to do anything good. And that shit is just like scary in general, even minus like having people chasing you. But I mean obviously that just kind of adds to the fear. Okay.
Yeah.
We got we got a few different videos here.
Mhm.
I we could always just go in order. Or you could, if one looks more interesting, we got like scary stories with video footage. That's why I picked
I
that
feel
one
like that
second.
one's very interesting.
Yeah, because this one is gonna. These videos are always, they're always super hit or miss. Um, because if they're fake, it's so much easier to tell if they're fake when you actually have footage of whatever's happening. Because like,
Yeah.
you can always type something out, right? Anybody can just write a story and make it sound believable. But if you're trying to fake a story and add footage to that story, it gets a little tough. And there's some videos that are just painfully obvious that they, yeah, that whatever it was just, like, fucking filmed with, like, their friends in, like, the backyard or something. Um, but
Mm,
I am curious, I do think this is probably gonna be more entertaining than the other ones because it actually has some visuals to connect with the story. Um,
yeah.
and then we could just pick something else because the rest of them are just, like, regular story videos
So
without,
I've been
like,
down here for a
footage.
few minutes now.
Oh, we're
Oh,
already in
This
here.
little clearing, so
wow.
Shit. Bro, like, come on. That
That
is
is
not
so fake.
that is not real.
Yeah.
There's just some fucking guy standing there not saying anything. Like, he was that close that
This
you can,
story
like,
from a
still
couple
see it
years ago is
pretty
without a
unblurry.
doubt one
Okay,
of the
bro.
most
Yeah.
horrifying things that has ever happened to me. It's one of those stories that makes me think in retrospect that I'm lucky to be sitting
I'm excited
down
to see
writing
whatever that
this.
story
I
is.
say that because it wasn't until hours later that I realized just how lucky I was. I'll try my best to tell this story, but please go easy on me. I'm not a
Go
writer,
easy on him.
and I always hated writing in school. I'm
Yeah, we'll
sharing this
see.
story as a reminder that
See
you
how
never
bad
know
his
who
writing
could be out
skills
there in
are.
the world with dark intentions. A few months before the incident I'm about to describe, I moved to a quiet, mostly rural area. I don't love the hustle and bustle of the city, so to be in a quiet neighborhood with not a lot going on was ideal for me. It didn't take me long to get acquainted with the surrounding area, specifically the forests around my new neighborhood. The area I lived was heavily wooded. There were forests and
Looks like a
paths
nice little
everywhere to
neighborhood.
hike. Practically right
Yeah.
outside my door was a path that led deep into the woods. I spent weeks exploring the forest and finding new paths. One day when I was hiking, I found a little path that ended up leading to a legitimate path from a local park near my house. It's not a state park or anything like that, just some kind of local nature reserve where you can park and hike. I thought it was cool that I had my own little private path leading to this park. So every Saturday, I would wake up early and hike in the woods around my house. I would try to find new areas of the woods I hadn't been to. At some point during the day, I would make my way to the public park trails, head to the public restroom there, rest on the benches if I needed a break, and then head back through the woods to get back to my house.
Okay. I'm pausing really quick. I just wanted to ask, do you have any predictions for how this goes? So again, this is just 3 stories in this video, but this first story, do you have any predictions of how this might go? Or what do you think if there whatever your prediction is, how do you think the footage is gonna play into it? Because like so far it just seems like a standard story, like how his Mr. Nightmare's videos usually go. But how do
Mm.
you what is your prediction for where this is gonna like take a wrong step on the wrong path or whatever you want to say, right? What do you think?
I feel like you can go two ways. It's either they're gonna like go to a part of the forest where like they've never been to,
Mhm.
and like they thought they like wrote like they knew where they were at least like leading to that point, but then like they try to go back and like they're like, oh wait, I'm lost, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, how where would the footage come in?
That's what I was
So
thinking. Yeah.
if it was like a footage thing, maybe like they see something out there and like they end up recording because they see something.
Mhm.
But I feel like that's not as interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm not sure. I can't really predict or I can't really imagine like where this is going. Um I feel like I was trying the reason I asked is because like what you said, it's like I can't really see like what he's leading up to for him to like say he recorded something. I
Whenever I
mean, we
would
are only like 1 minute into the story, so
find a
maybe I
cool,
should just
new
let it
area
play,
in the
but
woods, I would record a little video.
I was just
Nothing
curious.
crazy,
Oh,
almost just
a
like a
little
little
video.
video
Oh
diary to
yeah.
talk about where I was and just how I was feeling.
Oh okay.
Oh, so we're
These
both wrong.
videos were
But
just for me.
Yeah.
I didn't post them online. It
Dude,
wasn't about
imagine if he was like, because I think he means like he's vlogging himself, just like talking while he's like out here alone. I think he said he's alone, right? Or is he with friends?
yeah, I think he's
Yeah.
alone.
Imagine he's just like vlogging himself, and then like in the background, he sees some like guy staring at him through like the woods or something. That would be creepy.
That yeah, that would be creepy.
But I would imagine, I hope that like it's
views or
something like
anything.
that, because if it is, I feel like it'd be very obvious it was fake because it's very hard to film yourself and try to show something in the background because you know where it's going to be. So you know you need to like place the camera in a spot where it shows that area. So I
Yeah.
feel like anytime people try to fake content like that, it's always so obvious. So if that is like something similar,
like that. I
it'll
just
be
wanted
very
to
obvious if
document my
this is like
travels
fake.
and one day put them all together in a video for myself. I'd found some truly amazing places on some of my travels. One time I found this little waterfall, and the waterfall fell into this creek. The water in the creek continued to flow down this hill. It felt almost dreamlike the way it looked, and this creek was just hidden in the middle of the woods. It felt like it was my little secret. The place I found on the day of this story was nothing special. I'd been hiking for a while, and I found this clearing in the woods. There was a small swamp there, and I found it kind of peaceful. Even though it wasn't this amazing gem like the creek, it still felt peaceful to me. I remember feeling uncomfortable that day when I was walking through the woods. I didn't know why. I just had that bad feeling. I felt on edge. Every sound I heard in the woods made me tense up. I had walked these woods so many times at this point, and I never felt like this before. So when I got to the swampy clearing and felt that moment of peace, it just felt nice. I pulled out my phone to record a video. I recorded a video that lasted maybe a few seconds
Okay, that's probably
describing
where
the
they're gonna
area
play
and
it.
how I was feeling. As soon as I was done recording and taking in the area, I started making my way to the public trails. Eventually, after making it to the trails, I made my way to the public restrooms. As I walked out of the bathroom, this man in a black hoodie, purple hat, and sunglasses came right up to me and said, "Hey there." He said it with a lot of confidence, almost like he knew me. I said hi back politely, if not a little surprised. He made some weird joke about us almost bumping into each other, and I just laughed awkwardly and walked away. As I was walking away, I could hear him following me. I turned around, and he waved and said, "Looks like we're going to hit the same trail." I smiled, but I was feeling major creep vibes from this guy. I told him I was actually waiting for someone and I was just stretching. He nodded and said okay, and continued walking several feet. Then he turned around again, walked back toward me, and
Oh.
asked if I could help him. He said that his car was messed up and that he needed help getting it going. He said he knew how, but his hands were too big, and he asked if I could use my small fingers to pop the hood. According to him, his car
What?
hood sticks.
Oh, is this
and
like
you
a
need
is
small
the
fingers to pop it
POV of
enough
this
so he could open
storyteller
it.
a woman?
It seemed weird and sketchy
Or I guess
to
just
me.
a younger
I made a
teenager?
feel like-
comment about how he just said
I
he
have
was
no
taking
idea.
the
It
same
might
path
be a
as me,
guy,
and now he
younger
wants
guy.
my help with
I'm
his
not
car
sure, yeah.
instead. Then I doubled down on the statement that I was waiting for someone, which wasn't true. He laughed and said he was going to take that path to get to the car, even though the parking lot was in
Also,
the
did
other
she I don't know, did
direction.
this person even say anything about how he didn't bring up the car at all until he was walking past them and then just randomly remembered that and then turned around and was like, "Oh, wait, can you help me with my car? It's broken down." Like, wouldn't you have said that
Yeah.
immediately as you seen somebody? Not like act all calm and then like, "Oh, I guess we're walking on the same trail." Just to like walk
Yeah.
past him and then say something. Like, I feel like that's just a dead giveaway. And also, that's always like what I watch these stories a lot. That's what they always say. They always say, like, my car is broken down. Can you come help? And the second you go help, you're going to get jumped by like five dudes and like cut to pieces, dude. I don't
Yeah.
know. I would never trust anybody who says that shit.
Me
My
neither.
creep meter was overflowing
It's
at
like the
this
most
point, and I
suspicious thing you
considered
could
just
say.
going into the bathroom, locking the door, and calling someone to pick me up. I didn't know if this guy was just trying to get my number and he was just bad at talking to women, or if he was an actual
Oh, so does
creep.
one.
Yeah, that makes a lot
Thankfully,
more
this couple
sense.
walked by, and I
To why
walked
this guy
right
would
up
be
to the
acting this
woman and
creepy, I
greeted
mean.
her as if I were an old
Yeah.
friend. The woman was confused at first, but she took one look at my face, and I think she realized what was going on. The creepy guy started to linger awkwardly for a second. It was like he was trying to see if I was bluffing. I started making small talk with the couple, even going as far as to ask them how their parents are doing. A minute or so passed, and the creep started walking in the direction of the parking lot. When he was out of earshot, I thanked the woman and her boyfriend for playing along and told them that this guy was just standing outside the bathroom waiting for me, and that he wouldn't leave me alone. I know I didn't directly tell him to leave me alone, but come on, read the room. Not to mention, he was giving off major creep vibes, and me being alone in the woods, I just wasn't taking any chances.
Yeah.
I watched the man get into a small red sedan. I believe it was a red Chevy Cruze, and then he drove away. They offered to
Oh,
call the
what happened to
police,
that broken
but
car?
I told them that that was okay.
Yeah.
The couple stayed with me for
Call
a
the
little
police,
bit,
like,
made
right
sure
then
I
and
was
there.
okay, and that the purple hat man didn't come back. Then we went our separate
Purple
ways.
Hat Man? Five Nights
They
at
did
Freddy's.
insist on driving me
Oh
home,
my
but
God.
I told them that was okay. I'd rather walk since I didn't live that far. I practically
Oh, that's
ran
so
back to my house
stupid.
that afternoon.
I would have
It
definitely
was such
taken
a
that
weird
ride.
day. From
Yeah.
that horrible feeling when I was hiking to the creep at the bathroom. I just couldn't wait to get home and relax with a glass of wine.
When are they gonna show the footage, by the way?
Unfortunately, my relaxing night was
Oh,
about
okay,
to shatter.
there's more. I thought that was the
I
end.
started going through the pictures and the video from that hike, and something caught my eye in the video. I
So
played
not
it
gonna
again,
show.
and my heart stopped.
Just found this little clearing, so probably gonna head back to the bathroom here in a minute and head home.
Nah, it's
The
fake.
background of the video.
I told you, dude. I told you. I literally knew it
Oh
for
my
a
God.
fact. I knew it. If you ever record yourself like that, it is so impossible to like show something behind you without making it obvious. Like, why was he just standing there? You're telling me you wouldn't notice somebody that close behind you, bro? Go back to this shit.
Head
No,
home.
Broad daylight, black
bro.
hoodie just in the
Stop.
background.
He's like 2 trees behind her. He's not that far away from this girl. He's literally right there.
Probably gonna head back to the bathroom here.
Do you see how also like how she's like framing this? Why is she
Mhm.
already like pointing it towards that direction like the entire time? Like it's already like trying to show that side. Like you see like nobody's recording themselves like with a quarter of their face cut off like that. Like why?
Yeah.
What is like so important about this left side that you're like trying to show off anyway?
Here in a
Yeah.
minute and head home.
I don't, dude. No, stop it. Stop it. That is not real.
Oh my
That's like,
Why is he just standing like that?
dude, literally just standing behind the tree, like not even
He's not
nonchalant
even like
at all.
hiding or anything. He's just straight up just
Dude,
standing
yeah.
there. Like no one just does that.
Yeah. If you, if this guy is like a seasoned stalker, which he seems like he is, like some weird creepo. Why is he just stand? He's like not even covered by the tree. He's like half of his body is sticking out.
The
Yeah.
background
I
of
don't
the
know,
video,
man.
Just in the tree
No,
line,
that
was
just
the
seems
man
so
with the
fake.
purple hat. While I was talking,
Oh,
and
here you guys.
Bro. No way. He just
Looks
happened
like
to
a
be in the
mannequin.
background. He does, dude. This is definitely just like their friend or something, though. Like they're like, dude, you wanna record this like funny video while we're out here? Like, yeah.
my hike
Let's make up a
continued,
fake story
you
and
can
post it
see
on
his
Mr.
purple
Nightmare's
hat and
channel.
black hoodie just over my shoulder. It was the same man from outside the bathroom. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if I should call the police or not. I started to freak out thinking about the man. How long had he been following me? Did he know where I lived? But most terrifying to me was that I had no idea what he intended to do. He clearly was trying to follow me back into the woods, and then when I stopped, he wanted me to join him at his car. The same car that was supposedly broken, even though he got right in and drove away. Once I started adding up the pieces, I called the police department and reported everything. The police searched the area and conducted a little
I guess too late
investigation,
now.
but as far as I know, they never caught the guy. I never hiked alone after that, and I moved away about a year after this happened. I hate that I don't even know that couple's name because they honestly probably saved my life. Be careful out there, my friends, because you never know who's out there,
Okay.
lurking just behind you.
That was the first story in this 3-story video, but I was gonna say that if like this was just the story itself, it would have been like 10 times more believable without the footage, or at least to me. I feel like, I mean, obviously, if it was believable without the footage, that means it could still be fake. It's just harder to prove that it's fake, but I don't know. That was just stupid to me.
Waiting
That
for
was
the
silly.
perfect
Yeah.
moment. Hopefully that purple hat guy never got his moment, and I hope he never
Oh,
does.
what's that?
I
what
found
is
the
that
video
behind?
from that day
Yo.
and attached it to the
Yo,
story.
Beabu. What actually is that in your
Huh?
background?
Oh my God.
On its own, the video may
Oh,
There's
seem
a fucking
harmless,
wall behind you.
but
It's
once
not
you know
really.
all the
Yeah.
details, this short
really a
clip
practical
becomes a
prank.
nightmare.
Okay, do you think all of these are just gonna be like painfully obvious that they're fake, or do you think any of these like footage is gonna be real? I don't know why I quotation mark. It's
So this
footage,
is
but it's not
probably
real
the
footage.
wildest thing that's ever happened to
Do you
me.
think? Do you think it's
making
gonna
it even
be
more insane.
anything believable?
I can't believe I actually caught it on video.
It really
Let me set the
depends.
stage. My friend
Yeah.
Ron and his wife Tina.
Yeah, it does,
Because
I
it's like
guess.
another
New
forest
house.
thing.
This
I
was
feel like it's
probably like
not.
4 years ago, I think.
If it's anything, the way that I think, if it's anything that's like trying to nonchalantly, like, oh, I didn't notice this until I watched it back later. If it's something like that, I feel like it's gonna be fake. If it's something like
Yeah.
I noticed that there was somebody outside of my house and I took this footage of them like walking around, like maybe something like that would be real. So yeah, I guess it just heavily
At
depends on
first,
what the
everything
story
seemed
is.
amazing for them. A nice little house in a safe and quiet neighborhood. A few months after moving into the house, I met up with Ron for some drinks, and I asked him how the new house was treating him. He started acting a little weird. When I continued to press him on the house, he finally caved in and told me what was bothering him. He and Tina were convinced that the house was haunted. I can be kind of a jerk sometimes, and I started to laugh as soon as he told me. I asked him why he thought his house was haunted, and then he gave me the entire story. For starters, apparently someone did die in the house, something the real estate agent did in fact disclose before they bought the house. So this wasn't a surprise, and it's what actually made the house cheaper for them to purchase. Because of that little bit of information, Ron and Tina had convinced themselves that the ghost of this dead person was haunting their house. I'm not a believer in ghosts or anything else paranormal. It's just not my thing. I'm not a horror or true crime fan. That's probably why I always dismiss people when they start talking about spirits or anything like that. I started
Yeah.
pressing Ron a little more. I said to him that just because someone died in the house, it doesn't mean that it's haunted. He continued to give me more of the story. He told me that every night, he and Tina wake up at some random hour. There are strange noises that seem to come from everywhere in the house. He insisted that it wasn't just the pipes or the house settling. He said it was like something bumping into furniture and moving around. They would wake up in the morning and furniture would be slightly moved. Things that were on the counter would be misplaced or moved completely. Ron said that on one occasion,
I don't know,
he
man.
left his favorite
I
Miami
feel like I'm
Dolphins
already
coffee mug on the counter, and in the morning,
already
it was
out of
gone.
it. The
They
mention of
searched
ghosts
everywhere in the
just
kitchen,
making me
and
feel
it was just
uninterested.
gone. Ron claimed that he didn't think it was anything paranormal
I think
at
it's
that
another
point. He
paranoia,
was still just weirded out by
Yeah.
like being
everything, and
paranoid.
all the strange events must have just been
I mean,
some
yeah,
kind
if you
of
like
weird.
move into a house that you know is like dead people or people died there, you're probably gonna be thinking about it more. I don't
Yeah.
I feel like this is dumb or a bad idea. I kind of want to skip through this. I guess I won't because that's like ruining it. But it's like I as soon as they started talking about it being like haunted, it just makes me feel so uninterested because it feels like it's gonna be some stupid like found footage thing where it's like you see some shit like fly off a shelf or something. It's like these are always so dumb. But I got it's better to just like let it play out, I'm sure.
Kind of want to see how
Coincidence.
stupid the video would be.
That all
Yeah, that's
changed
why I wanted to
seconds
skip
before
like to
Ron
the
decided to
video,
tell me
but
the story.
that's
Mm.
boring,
Just
I
like
guess.
several
It's
nights
lame.
prior, he and Tina woke up in the middle of the night. It sounded like a crash coming from the basement. Wanting answers, he went down to investigate, even though he was terrified. The basement is loaded with boxes and storage, so he said it was impossible to be able to tell if anything had just fallen over. Apparently, while he was down in the basement, something moved in the corner of the room, and Ron ran out of there so fast and hadn't gone back since. He started calling all these strange things happening in the house paranormal activity, like the movie. And just like in the movie, he was terrified that if he kept antagonizing it, things would get worse. All of this seemed ridiculous to me. I was trying not to laugh because I could clearly see that Ron was upset. I was politely trying to remind him that paranormal activity is just a movie, and you can't antagonize something that's made up. That set him off.
Good
He
point.
was well aware of how he sounded, and that was part of the reason he was so upset. He knew this sounded crazy, and yet he hadn't slept well in weeks. Now he's terrified to sleep at his own house. He even told me that he and Tina had slept at a hotel the last 2 nights. They didn't want to sleep in the house until they could figure out a rational solution to this absurd problem. He was practically in tears trying to explain this to me. He said it was like an extreme phobia. Ever since he went into the basement, he's convinced himself that something is down there, and he said he's physically unable to go downstairs. I still couldn't tell if Ron was pulling a prank on me or if he was serious about all this. Even as I write this, I'm shocked all over again that Ron and Tina thought their house was haunted. This just seemed so irrational to me. I was starting to feel bad for Ron. He was so upset, he could barely get the words out now. Because I thought this was ridiculous, I offered to check the basement for Ron thoroughly. I told him that they just need to calm down a little bit and come to their senses. I said I would check every corner of the basement and make sure no ghouls are present, and that whatever noises and weirdness they're experiencing can be explained somehow and some way. He was hesitant at first because he thought my being there might antagonize the spirit.
I'm
but I
so
shut that
excited
down
to see what
quickly.
this footage is about to
I
be.
remember Tina fighting with Ron on the phone after this because she didn't want me to check it out.
I
She
wonder if
was
it's just like a
100%
squatter or
convinced that this was
something.
paranormal in
Yeah.
nature, and I,
I
along with
mean,
both of them,
it's
would
more
be in
believable
trouble
than
if I went
ghosts.
and looked in the basement.
Hmm.
After the call, Ron said he would drive me to the house, but he was going to wait outside, and that we couldn't tell Tina. I was a little sketched out by that, but I wanted more than anything to prove to them that nothing was down in their basement. When we got to the house, Ron begged me one more time not to antagonize the spirit, just in case. I just nodded and walked into the house. Me being me, I fully intended to antagonize the imaginary ghosts to prove that they don't exist. Before going into the basement, I walked around the house, and nothing seemed weird or out of the norm, other than a nasty odor. And before anyone starts to think that the odor was like demonic in nature or whatever, it wasn't that kind of odor. It was like body odor. Finally, I went into the basement. It was a mess. There were boxes everywhere. After looking around for a second, I started shouting for the ghosts to appear. And just like you may expect, there were no ghosts or any other paranormal events happening. I was about to leave, and then I decided to have a little fun at Ron's expense before leaving. I pulled out my phone and started recording a little video. I was recording in selfie mode just because I was only going to show this video to Ron as a joke. I made a comment in the video about how there aren't any ghosts, and as you can see, there's nothing but storage down here. I turned around and lifted the camera a little bit to show the storage over my shoulder, and as I did that, I thought I saw something weird in the corner of the screen. So I moved the camera back a little bit, and sitting right there was some creepy old guy.
Oh.
Not a ghost or demon, but a sickly
So you're
old
right, it's
man.
like a squatter probably.
I wish I
Yeah.
continued recording, but out of instinct, I just turned it off and ran.
So I've been down here for a few minutes now, and I haven't seen any ghosts, monsters, or any paranormal activity at all. Nothing except all of your useless storage down here. Oh my god.
Nah, dude.
When I got
Stop
upstairs,
it.
I slammed
Stop
the
it.
door
So
and helped
fake.
Stop it. It's so obvious, I feel like. That one
Yeah.
that one was maybe a little bit more believable to me, but it was
Hmm.
still like I don't know. Okay, I'll let you say. Why do you think it's fake? Is there any giveaways to you?
I really feel like if like I knew someone else was recording and like if I was that old person down there, I'd hide the best I can. I wouldn't like poke up or anything. I just
Yeah,
hide.
right. Like why would you be looking? So
Yeah.
what you think that's why it's fake, just like it's unbelievable that he would be looking like that anyway?
Yeah.
Yeah. I do think that. I feel like at least for me, like just watching the video, it isn't it just like his delivery of words just sounds like it doesn't sound like what you
Oh
would how you would talk when you're like talking with a friend or like if you're recording a video for a friend. It seems like he's obviously trying to like record a video he was going to post on YouTube.
yeah.
And then also just like the reaction that he had when the
Nothing
guy
except
pops around the
all of your
corner.
useless storage down here. Oh my god.
That looks like a guy in a mask. I don't know how I can like slow it down. That does not look real.
All of your
At
useless
first.
storage down here.
Wait.
That's a guy in a mask, isn't it? Maybe it's not.
He looks
th-
like he's in a hood. It looks like a hood and a mask actually.
I don't
Because
know
whenever he bends
actually.
down, it looks like a hood.
I feel like it's kind of hard to tell. Oh, it's so hard to
Look, see?
tell. Yeah. It kind of
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
mask.
it does look like a hood. Yeah, you're right. It does look like a mask. I was going to say for a second it actually did look a little real. Like it kind of did look like an old man, but now that I'm looking at it again, it doesn't. It just it looks like he's in a black hoodie with like a mask on. And like
Yeah.
again, why would he be looking like that? And it just does not seem like a realistic reaction. Like he was talking, he's like, oh, oh. And then he just stops
Oh,
talking,
oh.
still shows the camera, and then the second he's already like ducking down, he just runs. Like I don't know.
Hmm.
I would run, but I feel like that wouldn't be like my. You can just tell when something's real. I don't know how to word it. You can just tell if
Got
it's a real
upstairs,
reaction, and
I
that did
slammed
not
the
feel
basement
real at
door
all.
and held it shut.
Yeah.
I
Wait,
heard
go
the
back
old man
though.
screaming.
Go back.
It's like the beginning of the clip.
Okay.
I
At
continued
first,
recording, but out of instinct, I just turned
I
it off and
thought
ran.
something else was
I've been
the
down here for a few
little
minutes now,
ghost they're
and I
talking
haven't
about.
seen any ghosts, monsters, or any paranormal activity at all. Nothing except all
If you
of
pause
your
like right here. Oh, you have to go back a few seconds.
Go back.
Yeah, go back like a little bit.
monsters or any paranormal activity at all.
And then
Nothing except
like pot his head's in the way. Like there was that thing in the ceiling and I was like, "Oh, is that what he's talking about?"
I think I've seen
I don't know
it.
if you can
Like,
see it.
I think I.
monsters
Hold
or any
on. Let me
paranormal
see.
activity at all. Nothing except all
That like light bulb right there.
Yeah, there was like a frame where it looked like I had arms.
Oh,
of your
I did.
So
Whenever
like,
you
I thought that
were
was what it was.
when you were telling me to like go back, and whenever I was like letting it play, I did feel like I saw something behind his head, but I can't. Like
Hmm.
now that I'm like trying to go through it slowly, I can't really see
ghosts,
anything.
monsters
So I don't
or
know.
Yeah.
any paranormal activity at all. Nothing except
I didn't even know it
all
was a
of
light
your
bulb.
useless
Yeah.
I thought it was some weird cow looking thing.
Oh my god.
That is so fake.
Yeah, I feel like I've
That's-
seen it again in full speed, dude. He wouldn't be ducking down like that either. Why would he like duck down so slowly?
When I got upstairs,
I don't
slammed
know.
the basement door and held it shut. I heard the old man screaming on the other side of the door. The scream was
What?
more of a painful wailing.
Screaming.
I continued to hold the door.
Why would he
was
duck?
screaming.
Why would he duck down like he was hiding just to start screaming again?
Yeah,
That doesn't even make sense.
and
shut
why would he
with
be
one
in
hand.
pain? Like,
Yeah, was he either in pain or was he just screaming to like get him off his turf or something?
And
I don't
called
know.
Ron with
Yeah.
the other. When he answered, I blurted out that he needed to call the police because there was a man in his house. Not a monster or a ghost, a man. While this was happening, the man made his way to the basement door and tried opening it as I was holding it shut. I started yelling at him, and he just kept screaming. Then the
Okay, actually,
screaming
before I
turned
let
to
this play more, if they're calling the police, if this story is either gonna go two ways. It's gonna either go he got arrested, or well, by when the police came, he was already gone. If it goes that way, the story is immediately fake. If he does get arrested, it can either be they actually show like a mugshot of this guy, and then I'll actually believe it, and then that fake ass video, I guess, was a real ass video. But if he gets arrested and it's just like it doesn't show anything, then that's either fake and like doesn't even give a name of like the police case or anything because that would be like available, I'm pretty sure. And then
yeah.
if it's just the same bullshit, we're like, oh, when the police arrived, but he was already gone. Like that's just so
and repeatedly
cliche.
saying no, no, no over and over again.
Like how the fuck is this guy gonna get out of the
10 minutes for
locked
police to show
basement?
up, and I tried to hold the door
Yeah.
for the entire wait. And I kid you not, this guy tried opening the door the entire time. As soon as I heard the police cars roll up, I let go of the door, and the man busted through it. I should have waited
Oh.
until the police were in the house.
Oh my
There was
god.
a moment when I was
I already
standing face
fucking
to
know
face
it,
with this
bro.
old man. He was clearly insane.
He's gonna run out
His
the
eyes
back
looked
and then
almost
never be seen
plastic.
from again.
He screamed in my face so loudly that it knocked me over, and then he ran out the back door of the house. I tried chasing him, but the old guy was deceivingly fast. I started yelling for the cops, who were just now jogging through the house with no urgency whatsoever. I told them that the guy ran out the back door, and I didn't see which direction he went.
And they never caught
The
him.
cops looked for a
Wow.
bit, but couldn't find the guy. Ron called Tina and told her what happened. She was angry at first, but then just in shock over everything. We went into the basement to check everything out after that. The awful smell was clearly the body odor of this man. In the corner of the basement was
Man,
a
it smelled
small
that bad.
Oh shit. What did I just
Oh.
do? What did I just do? What is this? I just opened Reddit. How did I just open Reddit?
I still see you too.
What did I just do? Why am I on a Reddit? You still see YouTube? I mean, I guess that's
Yeah.
good. I don't know what I just did. Or how that happened. Genuinely, what just happened, bro? Okay, give me a second. I gotta fix this. I gotta fix this. New window. I like full screen. What is the button to unfull screen? Is it F11?
Yeah, it's F11.
F. Okay.
The one this is F11.
And it still just shows it does still show the video on like OBS. Where is that? That's not even like a
Yeah.
tab anymore.
What the heck? Wait, hover over your browser on your like taskbar.
My browser?
'Cause, like,
Yeah, that's what I
yeah.
tried to do. I tried to hover
Oh,
over
really?
Opera. Yeah, and it doesn't show. It's like literally
It's
just gone.
what the heck?
I have no clue, bro. What is that button you can press to like look at all of your open like applications? Isn't it like
Is it?
holding window and something else?
Yeah, it's like holding. What is it? What did I just do? God, what button is it? Is it Windows tab?
Windows tab. Oh, nope.
What
That
happened?
was not it. That was not it.
Oh, gee. Uh, Alt tab?
Alt tab. Uh um okay, I see Opera, but it's just the one that I have open. That other thing is literally not there.
The heck? But it still shows on Discord and the
Yeah.
stream.
Okay, let me I guess just go back to the video and then change it. I guess. The
What the
found
heck?
footage one.
Basement was a
You
small
might also have
pillow
to.
and a little blanket.
Yeah, it's not playing on there. Okay, let me change.
Yeah.
That was so weird, dude. Genuinely have no clue where that shit went. It's just gone. Okay. Well, there. And then let me change it on the stream on Discord. Okay. We're
Yeah.
back then. I have no clue what just happened. Fucking real life creepypasta. Fucking something's controlling my computer.
And the smell was the worst over there. Also next to the blanket was Ron's Miami
Oh
Dolphins
shit.
mug.
Bro's
The
just
Bro.
basement.
Shit. I don't know what's
Not to my
happening.
knowledge. After
Whatever,
all
bro. This
Yeah.
this,
story is fake
Ron
as
told
hell
me that
anyway. It doesn't
before
even
this
deserve
happened,
the respect
Tina
of
never locked
fucking
the doors. He grew up in a nice
getting
neighborhood.
fully
and
watched. I'm
since this
skipping this, dude.
one
I
day
don't
while
care.
they were at
That shit was so stupid. The like painfully obvious like fake recording, and then the stupid
Mhm.
bullshit cliche of oh the police couldn't find him and he got away. Like of course that
Aw.
happened, bro. I literally called it was gonna happen because that's just it's so obvious. Like if he was actually caught, which he most likely would have been, if he was actually caught, then they would be able to show like evidence of like him, and then they obviously couldn't do that, so they had to just make it so the story is like, oh yeah, he was never caught. I don't know, man. This is
Yeah.
just stupid. Third
about a
video.
month ago.
This
I
one
was
hopefully
asked
will
a
be
house
real.
and dogs.
Wait, no, because we didn't see
Wait.
at the beginning
Yeah.
the dude
It's gonna be
standing
that
there.
one. The
It's-
one guy that's just standing in front.
so this one's gonna be fake too.
It for my
Oh my
boss.
gosh, bro.
It was only for a few days, and his dog Max was the easiest and most chill
Let's hold
dog
out hope,
ever.
I guess.
Not to mention, my boss is rich, and I needed the money. So this job was an easy yes to make some extra money on the side. One thing that sucks about me is that I struggle to sleep when I'm not at home. I won't use the word insomniac, but it sometimes feels like that. I guess it could be nerves, but I don't know. I just don't sleep well when I'm not in my own bed. Being proactive and knowing I was going to stay up late, I brought over my Nintendo Switch. I decided I was finally going to play the remake of Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door.
Yeah, this
I don't
video's
know how
already
I
fake.
did, but
This
it
video's
was
already
first night.
fake.
The next night, I took Max outside for a late night walk a little after 10 p.m. I walked him just around the neighborhood a little bit. While I was walking back, I thought I saw someone standing by the boss's house. I slowed down and tried to squint the best I could, but it was just too
boss's
dark
house.
to tell.
The
As
boss.
I got
Who's the
closer,
boss?
I didn't see anyone. The darkness will always play tricks on
Me.
your eyes, especially if
Yeah.
you're somewhere you're unfamiliar with. I got back inside and started playing my game. It was about 1 a.m., and I remembered that I had left my charger for my phone in the car. I went outside to grab it, and a few houses down, just standing outside, was a person. They weren't doing anything objectively wrong or scary. It was just weird that someone dressed in all black was standing outside at 1 in the morning. Even if they were walking, it wouldn't have been as weird. It was only because they were standing there that it was weird. Ultimately, I ignored it. My thought process was that it was just someone who lived in the house over there, and he just happened to be outside at the same time as me. Maybe he was looking at the stars. After all, I was
Yeah, just
also
doing some
outside at 1 in the
stargazing.
morning. I went inside and continued playing the game for about 2 more hours. I shut the game off and started scrolling on my phone. I thought I kept hearing this
Bro, go to
noise,
sleep.
and it was starting to annoy
Honestly,
me.
man.
I couldn't tell exactly what it was, but it sounded like it may have been a tree branch rubbing against the house, or maybe even an animal. The noise was making me anxious for some reason.
Tree branch.
I think it was because I didn't know what it
Okay.
was, and I wanted to. I got off the couch and looked out the window in the living room. I jumped back as soon as I looked outside, because a person was running away from the window. I got up and ran to the other window, and by the time I got to the window and looked, nobody was there. My adrenaline was pumping. I was trying to process what reason someone would have to be creeping near the house. I contemplated calling the police, but I decided not to. Call me crazy, but I just didn't feel that threatened for some reason. It wasn't like the person was trying to break into the window. The person was close to the window, yes, but when I looked, he was running away. I realized there isn't a way for me to put this that doesn't make me look like an incompetent idiot for not calling someone.
Yep.
Even if this person wasn't trying to break in, they were still trespassing and clearly up to no good. But I'm an idiot, and I just let it go. The next day, I called my boss and told him about the weird visitor the previous night. Believe it or not, he was even less bothered than I was. He told me that in the neighborhood behind his house is a bunch of houses where young teenagers live. He told me that they cut through his yard all the time, and one time he even caught a few of the kids looking into his house windows. He claimed they were harmless,
he's
but
not
it still gave me
worried
an
about that?
uneasy feeling. I didn't care if they were just kids. I wasn't trying to get spied on. That night, I decided to take Max for another walk. This time it was a little later. We went at 11 instead of 10. When I was coming back to the house, I was looking for any signs of a person, and just like the night before, I thought I saw someone standing right by the house. Instead of slowing down, this time I started to speed up. As I got closer, it was definitely a person standing outside my boss's house. When I was close, I saw the person run behind the house. I brought the dog inside the house and then ran back outside, trying to scare whoever was messing with me. I went to the backyard and looked around with a flashlight, but I didn't see anyone. I looked all around the outside of the house for several minutes, and I saw nobody. This started to feel a lot like teenagers trying to mess with me. Like, this was totally something I could see teenagers doing. I was thinking that my boss was right. I went back inside and made sure everything was locked. I didn't think I was in danger, but I wasn't going to take any chances. A few hours later, I don't know what possessed me to do this, but I decided to look out the window in the front of the house. Sure enough, someone was standing outside. Not right outside the window or anything. They were under the streetlight that was on the grassy medium across the street from the house.
We're about to see it.
I just watched the person for a few minutes. It was weird.
This awesome
The person
footage.
didn't move at all. They were just standing there looking in the direction of my boss's
W
house.
footage.
I still didn't know if
Yep.
this was a teenager playing a prank. If it was a joke, it was a weird one. I didn't see anyone else around, so I couldn't imagine the joke's payoff would be good. Then I made probably the single dumbest move I've ever made in my life. I went outside and started shouting at this person, trying to get some kind of
Why?
reaction. Nothing crazy. I was just saying hello and
Start
asking
like
if I
running
could
at
help
him
them
and
with
screaming
something.
at him.
They still didn't move. After that, I announced to them that I was going to start recording them. I just wanted my boss to believe me. That's why I decided to record the person.
Uh-huh.
I started recording and tried to focus on the person. It was dark, so I couldn't see that well. While I was recording, with no warning, the person started to charge after me. This wasn't a light jog either. This person was hauling fast after me.
What?
Bro.
I started to run away.
No
That-
noise or anything running away, just
Bro. That slow ass turn, not even a single like gasp or scream or fucking like fart noise that like released out of his asshole after it like clenched that hard. Like, bro, there's no way. Also, that didn't even look. What kind of neighborhood is this? Just like a random grass field? I mean, I guess it just depends on the neighborhood, but shit, bro. That
It
reaction.
looked like he was sitting down as well.
Did it?
Yeah, like go back, like, or at least like he doesn't look like he's standing.
Yeah, he's like either super short or he's like, yeah, that's what I originally thought. I thought he was like sitting down in a grass field.
Yeah.
Like, bro,
I
that
started to run
reaction
away.
time, he started
I didn't
turning
mean to stop
so
recording, but
slowly.
I did. I ran back
Bro.
inside and locked the door. I looked out the window and I didn't see anyone. I waited for 10 minutes and I still didn't see anything. I walked away from the door and sat in a chair in the dining room just to process what happened. I still didn't know if this was a real attack or not. While I was sitting there, the doorbell rang. I didn't move or say anything. The doorbell rang again, and I still didn't move. I heard them try to open the door once, but thankfully it was locked. After they tried to open the door,
What do you think Mr. Nightmare thought whenever he watched this video? When he got sent this, like, story, and he had to read it all and then watch the video, what do you think he was thinking?
Hmm. He thought it was bullshit too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you think he actually believes these? Or do you think he
Definitely not.
I feel like there's no way. I think he knows that it's fake, but he's like, well, my whole channel is about scary stories, so like,
He was
gotta
just the
upload something.
narrator.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotta upload something.
I heard a calm and rational voice say, "Have a good night." I didn't know what was happening here, and between the chase and this experience at the door, I was completely paralyzed. I didn't want to call the police, but eventually I did. Even with the video, the cop was confident that nothing could be done. The cop was a nice guy, and he promised to keep a squad car in the area for the rest of the night in case this person came back. I showed my boss the video when he came back, and he looked sick. Right away, he said that person was not one of the teenagers. He didn't know who it was or have any idea who it could be. The most likely answer is that it was just some wicked person out in the night who happened to see I was outside one night, and for whatever reason, this person just decided that they were going to terrorize me. So far, as of me writing this, my boss told me that he has not had anyone show up to the house and has nothing weird to report. He even bought ring cameras for the front and a motion camera for the back of his house, just in case. What bothers me the most is that I have no idea why this happened, and I never will. Why would someone just randomly target me? Some people I talk to think this was just an elaborate prank, but I don't think so. Who would risk getting arrested for a prank
All
like
right.
this? In that few-minute window of being chased and having him come on the front doorstep, I felt like my life was in real danger. Prank or not, this is something I'll never forget.
That was the second video. That shit was ass.
It was horrible.
That was. I'm gonna be honest. Actually, I guess the first story was the most believable. Like the footage, I guess, was the
Footage
most
ruined it.
believable. It
But
ruined it, but it was definitely the most believable out of the three. And then like the story
yeah.
itself seemed more likely than the other two stupid ass stories. I don't know, man. Do you think we should watch one more video?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Which one?
We got a few. We have the countryside, three scary true countryside. That one I thought might be interesting. Um True hunting stories, that might be interesting, but I feel like
Like,
what?
I feel like that one might be interesting, but
Um
it's just more forced stuff.
yeah, I was gonna say it might be interesting because I feel like you gotta think of it right, like what is most likely to actually find some weird shit? If you're hunting at like night, I feel like you could probably find like some crazy fucking like guy on moonshine, like just running around the forest butt naked or something. Like I could believe that.
Yeah.
And but I feel like there's probably gonna be some story like, oh, there was a monster in the woods that was like mimicking my great great grandpa's voice. He's been dead for 10 years. Like some shit like that probably. Um
Yeah.
we got the lonely three true scary lonely cabin stories. Um True travel horror stories. Um True summer backyard, specifically the backyard. So all those stories happened in the backyard during the summer. And then lastly, we just have three terrifying true horror stories, and then that's kind of not really a connecting plot. They could just be anything, so it's more of like a gamble.
Yeah. Hmm. I feel like I'm in between hunting
Mm,
and summer backyard because summer backyard seems like something that I wouldn't even, like, it just seems new, I guess.
yeah.
like horror wise.
Something like kind of not really touched upon. I guess like
Yeah.
topic wise for horror videos. Yeah, I can see that. It does do like a lot of random shit like that, like 4th of July or like horror stories that happened on 4th of July and like shit like that, which isn't,
Mm,
most videos are just about like something happening in the woods, somebody following you, someone stalking you. Um,
yeah.
I think the hunting one could be interesting. I think the countryside could be interesting because like that's another environment where I feel like weird stuff could happen. Like there's probably some weird freaking like Hannibal Lecter family out there living in the countryside. Um, I don't know. Should we like flip a coin or something?
Yeah.
Okay. Um,
Well, there is shuffle actually.
shuffle. Should
Yeah.
we just do shuffle?
Yeah. Does that show us what's there? I have no
I
idea.
think it would show. Well, I guess.
Oh,
Do I let it autoplay? How does this work?
yeah.
I don't use shuffle. Let's see.
I think. Oh, sorry, backyard.
All right. Fate decided it.
What kind of name is that?
The
It was the
NAC.
summer of 2011.
That was a
I
weird
was
name.
13
Wow.
years old. Life was
Nice.
good. Social media hadn't taken over the world yet, and kids still knew how to be kids. It was July, my birthday month. My birthday had just passed a few days earlier. I
Happy
vividly
birthday.
remember that because when I had a
Happy
couple
birthday,
friends
man.
over, we ate some of the leftover ice cream cake in the yard. My family wasn't home. It was a sunny day. I was allowed to have my friends Kyle and Zook over. We used to call
Zook?
him Zook, which was a
Zook?
short nickname
What are
for
these
his last
names?
name.
I have no
When
clue.
home
Oh,
alone, I was
What did he
supposed to
say?
not
I didn't
be
even hear
Gook,
him.
which
something
was
about
the
his nickname for
leftover
his
ice
last
cream
name or
cake in the
something.
yard.
Let's see.
My family wasn't home. It was a sunny day. I was allowed to have my friends Kyle and Zook over. We used to call him Zook, which was a short nickname for his last name.
Oh,
When home alone, I was
What's his
supposed to
last
not
name?
leave the property, but
I
I could
guess
have my
we will
friends
never
over
know.
as long as we hung out in the house or
Zook.
the backyard. We grew up in a basic Westchester, New York suburban neighborhood. Zook and Kyle both rode their bikes to my house. It was so nice out that instead of playing video games inside or anything like that, we played sports in the backyard. Our family home in Westchester, that my parents still live in to this day, has a super big backyard. It was perfect for games like baseball and soccer. Sometimes we'd roughhouse and wrestle in the backyard, and when we had an odd number of people, we would have the others referee. Today, we were play wrestling. We were mimicking the WWE, taking on roles of actual wrestlers at the time. And we would do this
I
corny
remember
thing
doing that.
where whichever wrestler we were pretending to be, we'd use their specific moves and fighting styles. So the
Cool.
backyard is a unique shape. It has an awning right by the
Classic.
back door with a bunch of patio furniture underneath. Then there's 2 steps down to the grass area that starts narrow but opens up wider the further into the yard you go. Westchester is pretty known for having houses like this. While we were playing, I looked up at one of the upstairs bedroom windows, and despite the glare on the glass from the sun, I saw someone standing at the window of my parents' bedroom looking out to the yard. Remember, I said my family wasn't meant to be home. When I yelled time out and pointed up at the window, they walked away. My friends didn't see it in time. I told them someone's upstairs, and I hurried towards the back door, telling my friends I'm just checking who's home. I went inside and called out my older sister's name and then my mom and dad. From downstairs, no one answered. So I went to the stairway that led from the den to the main floor, and I called up again. No answer. I heard creaking from all the way upstairs though, so I knew someone was home. But I also knew no one was supposed to be. So I went to the landline phone in the den office and called my mom. No response. I then called my dad. No response. I tried both phones again, and that failed again. I didn't even know my sister's cell phone, which I know was weird, but I never really had a reason to call her at that age. I didn't really know why no one was picking up. Maybe it was because my parents got home and set their phones down somewhere. So I went upstairs to the main floor of the house by the front door. I went to look out the front window, and sure enough, neither of my parents' cars were in the driveway. The last person that could be in the house was my sister, which I wondered why she would be in my parents' room. I called up my sister's name to the upstairs floor of the house. I heard footsteps once again, this time more clearly. They came from right upstairs, just around the wall. I believe it was at this moment that I said my sister's name one more time. I looked up the stairs, and I saw something at the top. There was a bare foot protruding out from behind the wall ever
Just
so
a
slightly,
fucking barefoot.
pointing towards the stairs. It looked like a
Oh my
man's foot.
god.
That would be
Whoever it
scary as
was
shit.
hiding upstairs just
It
around
would.
the corner.
Just some random
There
ass
wasn't anyone
barefoot.
in my family.
Or just
I
naked
walked
in
down
there.
the stairs back to the den without making it obvious I was running. I then ran full speed for the office phone. Then I ran outside to my friends. I told them about the intruder in the house while frantically calling my mom and dad's numbers over and over. Finally, my mom picked up, sounding almost annoyed that I kept calling. But her annoyance was short-lived after I told her someone was in the house. She asked me why I was calling her and not the police, and she told me to hang up and call 911. As I did, Zook said, "Yo, look," and pointed at one of the upstairs rooms.
Zook.
This time it was my room.
Zook, man.
At the window was a person.
Such a bro.
Once again, no distinguishable features because of the sun glare. Only a second after I looked, they walked away from the window again. This entirely confirmed the nightmarish situation that was going on. I called 911, the first and only time in my life that I'd had to do that, and I nervously told them about the intruder. It felt like a pretty standard 911 call from what you'd expect. She told me to wait outside where we were with my friends, and that a car was being sent to the given address. It was a relatively fast response time. I guess that's Westchester for you. When there was a bang at the backyard gate, the person banging announced himself as a police officer, and he came out back. I told him to go inside because the intruder is upstairs somewhere. He hurried inside with his partner, and minutes later, they came back outside with a man handcuffed.
Oh,
Not just a normal-looking man.
shit.
This man looked
Maybe it's a real
disheveled
story.
and high. He was half naked. He looked wobbly.
Like,
Most importantly, he looked unstable and dangerous. He was slurring profanities at the cops. I called my mom again to tell her, and then put her on the phone with one of the cops. She handled, I guess, figuring out what happened next. I went inside to check what was stolen, and it was mostly just the drawers in every bedroom that had been rummaged through. But nothing outwardly appeared to have been stolen. As far as how that man got inside, I think it simply came down to an unlocked door, nothing crazy.
How was a guy
Still,
half naked
to
just walking
experience a
around in
stranger
broad
breaking into
daylight?
your house is something you think you only hear about
Yeah.
in stories and on the news.
why wouldn't anyone report
Not
that?
actually
Yeah.
in real life. And it was downright horrific.
How naked is half naked? Did he have like underwear on?
Tom.
This happened last
Oh,
summer
Tom.
when my older brother Ben asked me to stay at his house for the weekend while he and his fiancée went away. They had planned a short trip together months in advance, and all he needed was someone to watch his chocolate lab Bear. I had watched Bear plenty of times before, so I agreed without thinking much about it. Ben lived about 25 minutes outside town in a quiet rural area. There were neighbors, but every house sat on a few acres, and his backyard was surrounded by woods on 3 sides. They were not huge forests, just stretches of woods broken up by trails that people used for walking and biking. Bear loved those trails, so Ben told me to take him out a couple times a day like he normally did. I got there Friday afternoon after they left and settled in. Nothing happened that day. Bear was his usual friendly self, and we went on an evening walk before I watched TV and went to bed.
You think Bear is a
Saturday
skinwalker?
started the same way. I let Bear out
Has to
early,
be.
fed him, made
Yeah,
breakfast, and
that's
took
where the
him on
story
one
is
of the
gonna
trails
go.
around mid-morning. It was warm out, but not unbearable, and there were enough trees to keep
Unbearable?
the trail shaded.
Oh,
We walked for probably 20 minutes before Bear suddenly stopped. His ears stood straight up, and he stared into the trees off to our left. At first, I just stood there waiting for him to move. I thought he heard a squirrel or a deer. There was plenty of wildlife around there. I gave the leash a little tug, but he barely reacted. He just kept listening. After maybe 30 seconds, he started walking again, but every few steps, he turned around to look behind us. I remember laughing to myself and saying he was acting paranoid. The farther we walked, the more he kept looking back. At one point, he even stopped again and faced the direction we had just come from. I
Bro.
looked back too.
I remember when I used to walk my dog at like night. And not even at night, but like usually at night. Whenever I'd walk him and he would start doing that shit, like he would randomly turn around and like just stand there and like stare, or he would like keep like looking a certain direction. That would always freak me the hell out. And I still remember, I think like once or twice, I was walking at like this path that was like near the woods. I'm obviously not gonna like give away too much because I don't want to like well, I don't live there anymore, but I don't want to dox it. But I mean, you
Mm.
probably know the area. It's like where that park was. But it was like small park, but it was near the woods, but it was like also next to like a neighborhood.
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah. Um, I was there and I just vaguely remember it like just walking and he kept like looking behind us or something. And I don't even know why I was walking at that direction at night anyway, but I just remember it being scary as shit. And I just started like running, running back home because like dogs know stuff, bro. Like they like they'll hear something that you can't hear. Like
Yeah.
if somebody's like following you or like there's some fucking bobcat like in the woods or something, they're gonna know before you do. So
Mhm.
if I was this guy, I would have just fucking ran.
And saw absolutely nothing. The trail behind us was empty. No people or bikes. Nothing moving between the trees. I nudged him forward again, and eventually we finished the loop and headed back to the house. Once we were home, he acted completely normal again. The rest of the afternoon was uneventful. I watched TV, threw a tennis ball around the backyard with Bear, and later that evening, I started watching Game of Thrones.
This is an
in
AI
Ben's living
generated
room.
image.
Bear was stretched out on the couch next to me
Bear.
asleep. It was already dark outside by then, probably around 9:30, and that's when someone knocked on the front door. It immediately caught my attention because it felt strange hearing someone knock that late in such a quiet area. I muted the TV and walked over. I didn't open the door. I just stood there and asked who it was. A man answered from the other side, asking if Tom was home. Hearing my own first name caught me off guard. I asked, Tom who? The man gave a completely different last name that wasn't mine. I told him he had the wrong house and that nobody by that name lived here. There was a pause before he calmly replied that he didn't think he had the wrong house. That answer made me uncomfortable. I told him again that he did and that I'd appreciate it if he left. I stood there another 20 or 30 seconds waiting for another response, but nothing came. Eventually, I walked over to the window beside the living room and carefully looked through the blinds. I couldn't see anyone on the porch. I waited another minute before checking the front yard from a different window, but I still didn't see anyone. I figured whoever it was had finally left. I locked the deadbolts.
No, he's in the
though I'm
backyard.
pretty sure it had already been locked.
Read the title of
and
the
went back to
video,
watching
man.
TV.
You're in danger.
Bear had lifted his head
Oh
during
my
the
God.
knocking, but laid back down once everything got quiet again. Around 11 that night, Bear started whining by the back door. He had been asleep for a while, so I figured he needed to go out one last time before bed. I clipped his leash on, opened the sliding door, and stepped out onto the back deck with him. The backyard had a few lights mounted on the house that lit up the back deck and some of the grass, but beyond that, it was almost completely dark. The tree line started maybe 50 yards from the house, and once your eyes reached the woods, you couldn't really see anything beyond the first few trees. Bear walked down the deck steps into the yard like normal, but before he got very far, he froze. His ears went up exactly like they had that morning on the trail. This time he wasn't just listening. He started growling. It was low at first, then louder. I looked toward the woods, trying to see what had his attention. For a second, I saw nothing. Then I caught movement. A person ran across the edge of the tree line and disappeared into the woods. It happened fast, but there was no mistaking it. It wasn't an animal. It was someone running.
I'm not gonna lie.
Before I even had time to
I know I'm pausing like right as this is kind of getting scary, but like I'm not gonna lie. After watching that last one with the footage, it's so hard to like see these as like actual scary stories now. I don't
Yeah.
know. It kind of that last video kind of broke my immersion a little bit. I usually watch these and like find them at least somewhat creepy, but now it's kind of like breaking the immersion just because those last ones were so fake that it feels like if those were fake, then why wouldn't people who are just writing stories fake it as well? Like it's
Yeah.
so easy to fake a story when you're just
Bear
writing
exploded
something.
forward. The leash slipped right through my hand. He sprinted across the yard toward the woods, barking as loud as I had ever heard him bark. I immediately took off after him, yelling his name over and over. By the time I reached the tree line, he was already gone into the woods. I didn't even think about grabbing a flashlight. I just ran in after him because I wasn't about to lose my brother's dog. Within seconds, I couldn't see Bear anymore. I could still hear him barking somewhere ahead, but the trees blocked everything. It was much darker under the canopy than I expected. I slowed down because I could barely see where I was going. I kept yelling Bear's name, hoping he'd come back, but all I heard were his barks further ahead. Then I heard footsteps. At first I thought they were Bear, but they sounded different. They were heavier and seemed to come from off to one side instead of straight ahead. I stopped moving. The footsteps stopped too. I listened for several seconds. Bear barked again somewhere deeper in the woods. Then I heard another set of footsteps behind me. I turned around but couldn't see anything. It was too dark. I couldn't tell if there was one person moving around me or more than one. Every few
This guy's
seconds, I'd
dead.
hear another step somewhere
He's
different.
cooked.
It honestly felt like someone was circling through the trees, staying just out of sight. I suddenly realized how exposed I was. I didn't know the trails well enough in the dark. I had no flashlight, and I had no idea who had just been standing outside my brother's backyard. My heart started racing. I yelled Bear's name one more time as loud as I could, but instead of running further into the woods, I turned around and sprinted back toward the house. Branches were hitting my arms and face as I pushed through the trees. I didn't stop until I reached the backyard where the deck lights were shining. I stood near the deck, breathing hard, staring back into the darkness while yelling Bear's name over and over. For almost a full minute, nothing happened. Then I heard him barking again, much closer this time. A few seconds later, Bear came bursting out of the woods at full speed. He ran straight toward me and up onto the deck, but instead of coming to the door, he stopped at the top step and turned back toward the woods. He stood there completely still, staring into the darkness with his ears up. I grabbed his collar as hard as I could and practically dragged him through the sliding door before slamming it shut and locking it. We stayed inside the rest of the night. I checked every window and made sure every door was locked. I considered calling the police, but all I could really tell them was that I saw someone run into the woods. I had no description and no proof they were still around. Bear never fully relaxed. Several times while I sat in the living room, he suddenly lifted his head and stared
Somebody
toward the
just
brick
said I
walls of
thought the
house
guy
as if
was
he was
gonna be the
hearing
one
something
barking.
outside. Every time he did it,
That
I
actually
stopped
would be
and listened
scary.
too, but I
The
never
guy who's
heard
in the
anything.
woods is like
I
faking
stayed
to
awake
bark
until
like the
4 in the
dog
morning
to like
before
lure him
exhaustion
in.
finally caught up with
I feel like
me.
it'd be kind of hard to
The next
mimic
morning,
a
I
dog
went
with them.
outside after the sun came up and walked to the backyard and edge of the woods looking for anything unusual. I was hoping to find footprints, dropped items, or anything that explained what happened. I found absolutely nothing. Later that afternoon, Ben and his fiancée came home. I immediately told him everything that
There's
happened.
got to be more to this story,
From
right?
Bear acting strange on the trail, to the knock on the door, and the person running into the woods.
Yeah.
What surprised me most was Ben's reaction. He got quiet for a second, before telling me something similar had happened to him about a year ago. Bear had acted almost the exact same way in the backyard one night, and Ben had also caught a glimpse of someone disappearing into the woods. He looked around afterward and never found out who it was. Nothing else ever happened after that, so eventually, he stopped thinking about it. Hearing that made the whole thing even harder
Wow.
to explain. I packed my things and headed home that evening, but I couldn't stop thinking about the fact that someone had apparently been watching the house on more than one occasion. Ben and his fiancée still live there today.
Yeah, I feel like you could
Thankfully,
probably
they
call the
haven't had
police at
another
that
incident
point
since
if you had
then.
past
Since so,
experiences with it.
Every time I visit and let
Yeah.
Bear into that backyard after dark,
A
I
skinwalker
find
or
myself
mimic or
staring at those
something.
woods a little longer than I used to.
I don't know about that one, bro. Maybe. Could have been a
It's
skinwalker.
me.
That was you in the story.
It was me.
My
Hmm.
name is Dave, and I'm 35 years old. I grew up with a pretty small family. I have 2 brothers, and that's it. We don't have any cousins or anything. These days, the norm, at least in the US, is to have kids in your late 20s or early 30s. My brothers and I all had kids really young. I guess because we wanted to grow our
What?
family.
Okay. What did you think? What did you think is like the realistic solution, Beabu, for that last story? Do you think there is one?
I mean, I have no idea, really. Like, why? Like, what is their motive with this?
Yeah,
Like,
just running around in the woods like behind their house.
yeah,
There
just
wasn't
trying to
really.
scare people.
Yeah, there wasn't really much to that. Didn't they just say like they were walking the dog and he kept like looking behind him, and then later he just
Yeah.
like did the same thing when they were in the house and he just ran in the woods, and that was like about it. Or the guy ran in the woods and then they chased after him, or the dog chased after him. I don't know.
Mhm.
I feel like if it happened before, it could just be like I don't know, just like some homeless guy, I guess, in the woods. I don't really know.
I mean,
Is
that's
it,
usually all like the situation.
yeah, it's just always
For
like a homeless. If it's like a realistic story, it's always just like a homeless guy, or like nothing else, just like a homeless dude on crack. That's probably the
My
most
brothers'
realistic
names are Pete
solution.
and Jim. We live in Jasper, Georgia. Our kids are all around the ages of 3 to 10. Each of us have 2 kids. This story happened very recently, actually.
The guy with
in
his
May
feet
of
out from that one
2026.
story.
We like to have
Maybe
a
it
lot of
was.
barbecues at my house.
Same dude
For
from both
Memorial
stories.
Day, I invited Pete and Jim and their families
Dang.
over for a barbecue,
Half-naked guy.
along with our parents. My wife Nancy and I started setting up early.
I mean, they never saw the
Our
guy, so
backyard
they
is the
can't
best
deny
for
it.
hosting out of all of us because we have a pool and a big entertaining area, along with a big open grass area for the kids to play. Our neighborhood is pretty quiet and spacious, so instead of our neighbor's yard
Bro,
being right next to
I keep seeing your fucking camera do that like flash thing in the corner, or
I
like whenever I'm
I
looking
know.
over, in, like the corner of my eye, and it like fucking jump scares me. Even though I have a wall next to me, so obviously nothing can be there, but it keeps like fucking scaring
hours,
I
me.
don't know why
using
it's
the woods in
acting
the
out so
backyard.
much now.
In all honesty,
Yeah.
we had the cliche home
Fucking
setup
the
for a
FNAF
horror
glitches
movie.
are acting up.
Everyone came over around 1 p.m. Things went how a typical backyard Memorial Day gathering would go for us. We drank beers throughout the day, ate barbecue, and jumped in the pool. The kids played various games in the pool and field, and the hours flew by like this. Nightfall came, and we eventually had ice cream and dessert. And during this time, we heard the most blood-curdling scream from out in the woods. Everyone stiffened up and went silent, and only after maybe 10 seconds did we finally speak up. The first question was asked by Jim, and he asked if that was a fox. I said no way. I hear fox screams somewhat often here, and I know the sound. This sounded very human.
I don't. This is like interrupting the story. It's kind of unrelated, but I was just gonna ask you: have you ever had any like scary experiences like have happened to you at all? Like, do you have any actual horror stories of your own?
I feel like there has to be one, but it would have been
Yeah.
happened like when I was like really, really young.
So you just don't really like remember it that well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the reason I like thought of it is because I'm just like when I'm watching these, I keep analyzing everything to like kind of think of like if it sounds realistic or not. And like so far, I feel like this sounds realistic. Like nothing about it is like unplausible or just like yeah. I feel like it could happen.
Mm.
And I'm trying to think of like scary experiences that have like happened with me in the past. I've never had like something that I feel like is as scary as shit like they like usually say in these videos. Um but I feel like there's definitely been some memory of me somewhere where I've been like with friends or with a group of like family or just people and like we heard something similar, like maybe not a scream, just like something you don't want to be hearing that like came from the woods or like came from like some dark area that's like kind of out of distance from us.
Yeah.
Um but I it's like not an actual full story. I don't know. I'm like yapping, but it's just like something random I was thinking of because I've never had horror experiences as bad as like usually in these videos where like they're actually in danger. But I have had like random little scary moments that I kind of like remember while watching
Off
these.
now, and there was definitely a
Mm.
tense feeling in the air now. The kids were visibly shaken, but it could have just been some local teenagers messing around on Memorial Day. But when we heard the same blood-curdling scream a second time, we told the kids to go inside. In fact, everyone except my brothers and I went inside. The 3 of us went to the edge of the woods and waited there for a few minutes, waiting for another scream that never came. Eventually, I screamed out into the woods asking if someone needs help. This didn't lead to any kind of response. Needless to say, this really put a damper on the rest of our celebration outside. So we started bringing stuff inside and spent the rest of the night inside. The topic of conversation was the screams for a little while, but eventually we moved past it and dismissed it as some teenage Memorial Day shenanigans. Eventually, the night was coming to a close and everyone started heading out. Our parents left first, then my brothers and their families.
I would
I'd
not want
call
to
it
be
10
alone
p.m.
after that
they
shit
were all
happened,
gone.
bro.
We
I would ask
talked
somebody
a
to
bit
like
more,
spend the night.
eventually said we'll do the rest tomorrow and started getting ready for bed. The kids were already asleep by this point. Nancy and I were exhausted and climbed into bed. And then, a sound that you never expect nor want to hear at this hour of the night. The doorbell. The doorbell rang and made Nancy and I instantly shoot to an upright position and look at each other. "Who do you think that is?" she asked me. To which I said, "Maybe one of my brothers forgot something." I got out of bed and went downstairs to the front door. Without opening the door, I said, "Who is it?" And and a man on the other side said, "Hey, can you open up? It's important."
Oh.
I was not opening that
Oh.
front door to an unidentified stranger at that hour. So I
Yeah.
responded, "Can you identify yourself?" He then said, "It's your neighbor down the road." I responded, "Which one? What's your name?" He responded, "Jack." I didn't know any Jacks. I asked him for his exact address. I would know if it was a real address or not. But after I asked this, there was dead silence. I
Yep.
repeated my question, but instead of him answering, I heard footsteps walking off the front deck. My question scared them away. Who was that person? Surely it wasn't actually
Come a
a
little bit
neighbor
more prepared
who
next
were
time,
trying
bro.
to get me to open the door. This prompted me to check to make sure every door and window was locked. When I told Nancy about the weird encounter, she started to freak out and went to check on the kids. I eventually was able to calm her down, but I agreed with her that it was a very scary encounter. We went to sleep eventually out of sheer exhaustion. The nightmare didn't truly begin until about an hour or two later when I awoke to Nancy shaking me. She told me she heard what sounded like the garage door closing.
Bro,
Our
hold
garage
on,
door.
hold on. Do you think it's like valid to call the police after like that first part happened? Just the guy knocking on the door?
I mean, I feel like it might be just because he was pretending to know the person.
Yeah.
So, like, it seemed like he was a threat. Like, he obviously had some intent of getting inside and, like, maybe not doing something so great.
Yeah. I
So,
mean, that's what I feel. If somebody is pretending to be your neighbor, I feel like that's already valid enough to be calling the police. Like, obviously, they might not be able to do much, but it's at least going to deter them away. Because, like, imagine, obviously, it seems like the story is going to go in a way where they actually were still trying to get in the house. But imagine, like, this guy, like, after he said that, he's like, oh shit, I don't know an address to give this dude, so I'm just gonna go to the next house down and, like, try the same thing. And then, like, maybe your actual neighbors aren't as smart, and then they just let him in, and then he, like, kills them all. So, like,
yeah.
I feel like it's just yeah, I feel like after the first time, if you have somebody who's pretending to be your neighbor, just call the police because it's like it's gonna deter them away, and there's not even there's zero reason why anybody would ever do that if unless they were like planning
It manually
something
opened and
bad.
closed. I never bothered
Mhm.
fixing the mechanisms for the automatic open-close feature. But if what she heard was true, that meant we didn't lock the garage door. My heart started racing right away. I have a .22 pistol in my bedside drawer that I keep for potential home defense
Hank.
situations. I grabbed it and told Nancy to wait there. She told me
Never
not to
mind.
go.
Guess they
but
didn't need
I
to call
had
the
to.
police.
I
They're
cried
fucking
down the
strapped.
stairs. Each step, the fear of the situation setting in even more. When I got to the bottom, the door that leads into the garage from inside the house was just down the hall to the right. I tiptoed over, and I saw that this door was locked. So, if what Nancy heard wasn't just a dream or imagination, that meant someone was still inside there. I put my ear up to the door for a second and listened. I couldn't hear anything. I unlocked the door as quietly as possible, and it took me a minute to gather the courage to grab the doorknob. When I finally did, I yanked the door open and aimed the gun up in front of me. I looked inside the garage. I didn't turn the light on yet, but there was a small red light on the work desk coming from a tool charger. It lit up this
Oh.
little corner of the
Oh, wait,
garage.
there's a guy standing
where
there.
I saw the
Yeah, I
outline
didn't even
of
notice.
a
Yeah.
person. I knew it had to be. I saw in the darkness
Did
the
he light
figure
him up?
swaying a little back and forth in this weird way. The sight made me want to throw up. I announced that I had a gun, and I locked my aim onto the swaying black mass in the corner. My heart nearly dropped out of me when the black mass fully moved towards the garage door, and the door then lifted up just enough for them to run out and escape before the door fell back down to the floor. Only then did I turn on the garage light and run to lock the garage door. The whole thing was over in less than a minute. I couldn't even process it fully yet. I ran to the phone to call the sheriff's office and reported a break-in. Upon their arrival, I told them of the screams in the woods, the man at the front door, and the person in the garage, all while Nancy listened in. This call was less about expecting them to immediately catch this person or people, and more about getting this whole incident documented so they could be aware of it. On the spot, there wasn't much more they could do other than make us feel safer in the moment. They searched the inside and outside of the house and then advised us to keep everything locked. After that, sleeping was pretty difficult for a while. It's been a little over a month, so this is still kind of fresh, and and the fear of them coming back is still present. I do think the man at the door was the man in the garage. However, I don't know if the screams were linked to this as well. If they were,
Yeah, it's a
that
little
just makes
strange.
whatever this was even worse.
I don't know. What did you think about that story? You have
I
any
feel like he
thoughts?
shouldn't even have gone in the garage anyway. Like, okay, so like the garage door was open, but not like the door from the garage that enters into the house. That was still locked.
Yeah. Yeah. So he
And
didn't
like,
really have any way to get in.
yeah. And like, I know he had a gun, but I feel like it's so stupid to even go in there if you're safe anyway. Like, all your doors were locked. You didn't
Yeah.
have to go out. You could have just called the cops. And even if you didn't, maybe even just wait until the morning and like call the cops to like open the garage door if they're still in there for some reason, or like
Yeah.
just something like that. Cause like I know you're like going in there with the gun, but like who knows like if they're like behind somewhere like and like they can ambush you or something
Dude, for real.
instead.
I think that's why they literally tell people, like, in a home defense scenario, you never want to go patrol your house even if you are armed, because it's like a thousand times more dangerous than if you were to just like, I think they tell you to just like stay in a room, lock the door, and like crouch in a corner with like your gun pointed at the door or like any entrance.
Yeah.
And then just wait for them, because it's again more safe. And like, I do agree, I feel like there's no reason to go in there besides, I guess, stopping them from like robbing you. Like, I guess they could steal stuff from your garage or like try to steal your car or something, but like, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it was pretty dumb. And I do feel like that last story did seem more realistic besides the part about like the woman screaming,
Yeah.
because to me at least it doesn't really add up like in reality. Like when you first hear it, you might think like, "Oh yeah, the screaming and then like the suspicious thing afterwards makes sense," but like if they just committed a crime where they just attacked a woman or like killed somebody or whatever that was, why would they immediately go to committing more crimes? Like they're on like some crime spree, like they just killed a lady and then they're like gonna go rob a house or like kill more people in that house. I don't know.
I feel like the only reason why they do that is because they heard the guy yell and they're like, "Oh, I have to get rid of these people, so don't report
Oh,
it," or something
yeah,
like that
like,
maybe, but
yeah, kill the freaking witnesses. I guess
yeah,
that's true. I didn't think about that. That's possible. Dang, bro. Well, should we watch another one, or do you think that should be it? We watched 3 videos.
I think that should be it and save for another time.
Yeah, we still do got, some other videos that could be potentially fun. And I guess, like, if
Mhm.
we ever do this again, we could watch other stuff besides Mr. Nightmare. I like watching Mr. Nightmare's videos, like, just on my free time, like I said at the beginning.
Yeah.
But there are probably, like, other videos out there that could be entertaining that actually show, like, footage that isn't fake. So I have seen videos like that where it actually does look like realistic footage. Maybe
Yeah.
something like that would be more entertaining. But yeah,
I think that'd be cool.
I still think I had fun. Some of these videos were still a little spooky. Feel like it's not like too scary to like make you pee yourself, but it's like enough to put you in that mood if it's like a Halloween night or something. Like sometime
Mhm.
in October, you just want to put something spooky on in the background. That's why I like it at
Yeah,
least. Yeah, good,
very good
good,
videos.
good videos. Good job, Mr. Nightmare. Thank you for joining me, Beabu.
Of
Yeah,
course, of course.
W stream.